behind Saturday's drone attacks on 2 Saudi oil facilities, knocking out more than half of that country's oil production and 5% of the global supply. Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen claiming responsibility for those drone strikes. Fox's Gernal Scott on the U.S. response.
On Fox News Sunday, counselor to the president Kellyanne Conway says she won't get ahead of the White House, but she believes all options are being considered in showing the U.S. won't stand for this kind of insurgence.
Particularly when it comes to retaliating against malign behavior and protecting American interests and Americans and our American economy.
The Tasnim news agency in Iran quoting a senior commander with that country's Revolutionary Guard who warns that U.S. bases and aircraft carriers are within range of its missiles. United Auto Workers have not walked off the job in 12 years, but they could tonight at General Motors over job security, benefits, and GM's use of temp employees. This after their contract expired just before midnight last night. UAW spokesman Brian Rothenberg.
These UAW members, not so long ago, helped save a company that many people didn't think was going to survive. They stood up for that company. And now they want that company to stand up for them at the table.
The car company offered to make new products at 2 GM plants slated to close, but the two sides remain far apart. Michigan was the first state to do it. Now New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo wants to ban flavored e-cigarettes. America's listening to Fox News.
Coast 360 introduces our new youth banking program. Give your kids and teens a head start with Kids 360 and Teen 360, a program designed to help your child develop smart financial habits and learn about money. Introduce them to banking and get them on a path towards a thriving financial future. Plus, new youth members get a special lunch tote just in time for back to school while supplies last. Learn more at coast360fcu.com or visit your favorite member center. Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
GRMC's cardiology department treats most complex heart problems. In our catheterization lab, cardiologists use imaging equipment to treat clogged arteries that can cause heart attacks or heart failure. We perform balloon angioplasty, stenting, and other life-saving cardiac procedures. If you suffer from a heart condition, have your provider refer you to GRMC's cardiology clinic at 645-5500. GRMC, where patients are partners.
We're learning about another allegation of sexual misconduct against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. The New York Times reporting the FBI was informed about it during Kavanaugh's confirmation process, but failed to investigate any further. It allegedly happened when Kavanaugh was an undergrad at Yale. A male classmate alleging Kavanaugh exposed himself at a party. The rest involves a female classmate. President Trump says the justice should start suing people for libel. Democrats, though, calling for Kavanaugh's impeachment, including presidential candidate Kamala Harris, who called Kavanaugh's confirmation process a sham. She's a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. A busy day for Democrats running for president, including Harris. Former Vice President Joe Biden spent some time in church.
The former vice president, who has strong support among black voters, wrapping up remarks at the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham. 4 black girls were killed there in a KKK bombing 56 years ago today.
My prayer to all of us this morning is that in this moment, when our nation once decide again who we are, what we stand for, we will remember the strength of this community.
Now, Biden took some hits in the last debate from former HUD Secretary Julian Castro, who questioned the 76-year-old on his memory. Castro, who trails in the polls, is in South Carolina today, courting voters at a Hispanic Heritage Month event and talking to students at the University of South Carolina in a presidential town hall.
Fox's Christina Coleman, a hoarse Bernie Sanders resting his voice. You heard that in the debate. He's at home in Vermont. Speaking of voices, It Chapter 2, still #1 at the box office, taking in another $40.7 million. I'm Jane Metzler. This is Fox News.
Wow, nice smile. So perfect and all.
Thanks. I owe it all to Dr. Robert Yang and his smile team. They do wonders for a healthy, happy mouth.
Got teeth? Don't wait until they hurt. Schedule your routine checkup and cleaning with Dr. Yang and his smile team. Suite 119 in the East West Business Center, Upper Tumon. Call 647-8702 or 3.
The best thing that happened to teeth since toothpaste.
Dr. Yang and his smile team.
They make smiles happen.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Proline Automotive has everything to customize your whip. From custom wheels to Nankang tires or just hubcaps, they have it. Feel better that it's protected with a dash cover, car cover, seat covers, or floor mats. Visit Proline Automotive, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
Hulu is all your TV in one place, plus more. Watch thousands of hit shows, movies, and award-winning Hulu originals for only $5.99 per month. It's TV without the cable contract and the freedom of on-demand streaming. Get current network shows from ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox, and binge watch every season of your favorite cable shows. Premium Hulu viewing is brought to you by Proline Automotive and AB Sports, Guam's store for Nike. To advertise on Hulu, call Choice Digital at 989-0042.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Classes will be canceled at Agata Johnson Middle School and Ordot Chalanpago Elementary School today to allow a local contractor to again spray the school grounds and interiors with an insecticide to get rid of mosquitoes. The spraying of schools started yesterday and will resume at 3:30 this afternoon, according to a statement from the Office of Civil Defense. It's part of an effort launched by Public Health to prevent the spread of dengue fever. Residents in a 200-meter radius of the confirmed case of dengue fever will also be asked to have their homes sprayed both inside and outside with insecticides to control adult larvae mosquitoes. Public Health has identified 82 residential homes that will be affected. Agata Johnson and Ordot Chalanpago are being closed as a precaution. A statement from Guam DOE advises that classes at all other Guam public schools will not be affected and will operate as scheduled today. Last Wednesday, Public Health confirmed the first locally acquired case of dengue fever. The infected person had no recent history of travel outside of Guam. The confirmed case here follows an outbreak of the virus currently affecting Yap Palau, the Marshall Islands, and the Philippines. The federal government has been ordered to pay $11.5 million in a medical negligence lawsuit filed by the parents of a baby boy born at Naval Hospital Guam in 2014. The lawsuit alleges that members of the medical team at Naval Hospital Guam failed to properly and timely resuscitate the baby at birth and failed to recognize obvious signs of distress due to lack of blood flow and oxygen. Deirdre and Daniel Bebo were stationed on Guam in 2014 but now reside in Virginia. They filed the lawsuit against the federal government, stating that their son suffered severe, disabling, and permanent brain damage. In December of 2017, the Department of the Navy initially denied the claim, but on Friday, a federal court in Virginia approved the monetary award, which will be used to help the family care for their child. The family initially sought $150 million in damages. We'll have more news after this.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mescla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mescla, a true taste of Guam.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your NFL fix every Friday on Sports with Blake. Get the latest updates as Blake and Mike break down the upcoming action. Get your game on with the boys on the hotline, 888-TALK, or sound off on Facebook Live at thepoint.gu. League members get a chance to win some awesome prizes that get you through the NFL season. The NFL Picks on The Ray Gibson Show is brought to you by Current Guam with special thanks to GTA.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. A distressed female swimmer was pulled from the waters of Tumon Bay Saturday afternoon. The woman was found over the reef and pulled ashore at Gun Beach by lifeguards about 5:45 p.m. She was pulseless and breathless, according to Guam Fire spokesman Kevin Riley. The woman was rushed to Naval Hospital with CPR being performed en route. Her condition has not been released. The female friend of the victim, who made it to shore, was taken to Guam Regional Medical City and evaluated for exhaustion and minor injuries. Guam residents can expect more rain today and tomorrow as the circulation that brought as much 7 inches of rain yesterday continues over the region. Throughout yesterday, there were reports of flooded roads and possible mudslides. Officials urging residents to drive with caution. Residents are reminded also of the high surf advisory that remains in effect through this afternoon. Hazardous surf of 11 to 13 feet is reported along south and west-facing reefs. It's expected to subside later this week. Forecasters also warning of high risk of rip currents, which are life-threatening. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. For more on the weather, here's Ray and Mike.
Oh, we're going to get you plenty of weather here in a second. It's 6:11 in the morning, and kind of curious about those advisories. Are they on the waterways or are they on the roadways? I tell you what, we've seen some significant flooding in the last 24 hours or so. 6:11. I'd normally be jumping over to the Michael Knight in our Points Weather Center, but in this case, we'll go to the National Weather Service. Good morning. My name is Ray. Which one is this?
This is Mike Middlebrook.
Mike Middlebrook. How the heck are you?
Just call me Mike.
That's all right. I just make the distinction here between you and Ben Middlebrook, one of the fastest runners on Guam. How's that kid doing?
He's doing fine. He's still out running just about every day.
Is he outrunning the weather that we had in the last 24 hours?
Oh, that could be a tough one. But we kind of got caught yesterday, that's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it kind of come up by surprise. Nice breezy night on Saturday night, and all of a sudden Sunday morning comes in. The breezes are still there and brought with it a whole bunch of rain. Tell me the story.
Well, we had really more of a disturbance. It had a circulation center, and it was strong enough to be called a tropical depression. But all the weather was west and south of the circulation. It was all exposed out to the northeast. But between the southwest winds at the surface and those east winds aloft, it set up a really good situation for long-lived, strong showers and thunderstorms. And well, by the way, did you guys see that burst of lightning we had yesterday morning? 6:30 or 7?
I missed it. I was awake at the time, but I don't recall a flash.
Yeah, there was this continuous flickering of lightning up in the clouds, and there was a continuous rumble of thunder, and we had a couple of pretty good cloud-to-ground strikes, and I haven't seen anything like that around here for a while.
No. What occurred to me last night in terms of just watching the weather all day was it began to subside for a little bit, and then about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it came back, and it came back with some strong gusts. I figure about 25 to 30-mile-an-hour gusts.
Right, yeah, there was some pretty good gusts in that southwest band out away from the center, and Saipan's getting some of that now, but that should be clearing out of there in the next few hours.
So let me see if I understand this right, Mike. So we actually had something develop right on top of us.
Just about.
Where is it now?
Well, the center is up probably northeast of Agregan by now and getting ready is moving out of the area. Most of the heavy weather is just west of the northern Marianas now and moving off to the northwest as well. So we're past most of that, and today we should see rapid improvement.
Okay, so we've got improvement today. Now, did I see something in some of the press that said that there might be something coming up behind this, another development over on the east and south of us?
There's a weak disturbance out in eastern Micronesia, but right now it doesn't look like it's going to amount to anything near what we had yesterday.
Okay, well, that's good news. So the back end on this is the storm, that the development that came through yesterday is already kind of moved off. We're going to have a little bit of remnant weather based on that and should be in the clear later on today, maybe tomorrow.
That's correct, yes.
Longer-term forecast towards the end of the week, what do you think?
Well, we'll have some lingering scattered showers through about midweek, and then after that we start getting into a drier pattern for a few days, which I don't think that'll disappoint anybody who got flooded.
Right. Well, there has been some terrific flooding. Longer term, what's going to be happening out in the waters, beaches and reefs and exposures?
Well, we had some pretty good waves the last couple of days, seas up 12, 13 feet. They'll be subsiding slowly today and then more quickly tonight and tomorrow. Watch out for that high surf on the west and southwest beaches, though, for the next couple of days, and those life-threatening rip currents, and they really are. You know, we lose more people to marine drownings and rip currents in typhoons and a lot of other weather hazards we have. So, folks, be careful out there at the beaches.
Don't go looky-loo. Now is not a good time to go looky-loo. If you do it from the comfort of the car that's parked on the beach. That'll definitely keep you out of trouble. There was somebody pulled out of the water yesterday, and we'll see if we can get some updates on those other kind of stories. Mike, if we need to, we'll call you back, all right?
Hey, no problem.
I appreciate your time. Mike Middlebrook for the National Weather Service. Mike, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Well, I don't really know what I could add that would
that Mike
would counteract his. Yeah, we're just looking for things to slowly clear up during the day today, and things looking much better for tomorrow. I did talk to Mike earlier before the show, and from midnight to midnight, this would be yesterday, they picked up 8.2 inches of rainfall up at the airport. And then when you go from midnight, through the morning that we had, and through the overnight and the morning today, could be, maybe 10 inches in some spots that we picked up from this system.
I wonder if we got some kind of record breaker going here. Certainly, we've had more rain in the last 30 hours than I think we had during a couple of entire months of 2019.
Yeah, I woke up about 4 o'clock yesterday morning, and that was right before the rain hit. It was just getting a few showers, but the wind was really blowing, and I was like, what's going on? Opened up my radar, and I'm like, wow.
Where did that?
Comes,
the stinker just came through. Anyway, so here's what we got for you today in terms of the weather forecast. Breezy, occasional rain this morning, then mostly cloudy and scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms this afternoon. Tonight should decrease steadily to around 10 miles an hour after midnight. Less and less rain. As the man said, a little bit of lingering weather that we're going to get. Highs around 85 degrees, and overnight lows should be about 77 degrees. Sunset tonight. Sunset 100. You got your work cut out for you. 6:21. The sunrise came up about 7-8 minutes ago at 6:09. That's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific, banking on the Pacific for 65 years.
Day. Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Jade Uggan of Umatic, and this is where I start my day. Listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanonmo. Protect your land. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Chili's Guam invites you to our new location, now open on the second floor of Tumon Sands Plaza. For the past 10 years, we have made Guam our home and celebrated moments with our familia and friends. From birthdays to first dates, anniversaries, and everything else in between. We're keeping it going with our new location where you can hang out with family and friends over fajitas, burgers, ribs, and margaritas. Treat yourself to an elevated guest experience at Chili's like no place else. Now open on the second floor of Tumon Sands Plaza. Chili's, new location, same bold flavors.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
From? What's up with that, guys, huh? As I said, it was a beautiful Saturday night. I'll tell you the entire story a little bit later on. Then it just come up and it got all wet and snotty and soggy all day yesterday, and not conducive to anything other than watching Netflix and eating soup. We'll talk about those adventures as well. But let me get the program started a little bit. I got Michael Knight from the Points Weather Center, who was taken by surprise, just like all the rest of us were. He just wait a second. Opened up the radar app, and there was this big monster of cloud and rain activity over virtually all of the Marianas.
Yeah, you know, Mike was talking about lightning and things, and I did hear a little bit of thunder. At least I thought I did, right around the 6 o'clock hour.
I lived near the airport.
Yeah, I never saw any lightning.
Yeah, I didn't see anything like that. Hey, and would you look at who's here? Kevin Kerrigan back in the chair.
Half a day.
Half a day.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Nice to be back.
Isn't it?
Well rested.
You didn't do one of those fly-in on the red eye last night, right?
No.
You've actually been here for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So you experienced our weather. It was nice while you were gone for a little bit. I mean, we had some weather, but I mean, yesterday was almost biblical. Have you seen all of the videos that are floating around?
And flooding, yeah.
Oh, the flooding.
Careful out there.
I was kind of hoping that after the last round of this, but we went through this last year. Almost exactly the same time period last year when everybody was sharing WhatsApp videos of the incredible flooding down in Malesu, in between Mauricio and in Iran. You get that one stretch of road, and I thought they had it all taken care of. It seems to me most of the things that did the blocking have been pulled up, but still not enough to prevent the water from using the roadways basically as a river.
Yeah, and that's about the only choice you have. Over at the National Weather Service, Brandon sent some, Landon, I should say, sent some video.
They're the same guy. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, you never see them in the room at the same time. So, but their catchment pool there, which is actually services the airport runway and everything, full, completely full, 6 foot deep out there. He said he probably will bring his paddleboard to work today.
Why not? There was some of that. It's exactly what it felt like over the last 30 or so hours. Anyway, 6:21 in the morning. A lot to get to. So let's take care of this part here first so I can say hi to everybody in half a day.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
Ray Gibson Show being brought to you by my friends over at American President Lines, a global presence with a local home. Top 10 list this morning started off with Ismael, and Ismael again using sophisticated alien technology to get on board first. Al Bautista noticing, it's raining on Guam. J.B. St. Nicholas, John Ray Titano comes in, Lynn Vince, Borja Polino. I got Nick Pulaski and his Hoik, Leah Beth Nahalawa, Anita Mofness with Valentine's Eyes, Heather Perez, and then Carlos Barreto rounds out the top 10. But there's more. I got cousin Tommy Barcinas there. Tammy Miggs is online. Gwen Timinglu, Evergreen, South Guam, and Vivian Cunningham are online as well this morning. I got Jan Mabini, Teto from the Ranch, Cheryl Oshai, Dwayne Santos, John Rages, and who else is there? Gabrielle. Gabby Williams is there. Nice to see you there, sweetheart. Charlene Marchachot is online. So is Marianne Tyron St. Nicholas, Tony D'Angelo, Eunice Mendiola, John Torres, Ken L.G., Mo Cotton, Juanita Machi is online. Stephen Stettenbot says, half a day and good morning. Happy 15th birthday to my son, Stephen Kainoa. Stephen Kainoa. Am I getting that right? Stephen Stettenbats. Very good. Love Mom and Dad and the entire family. James Lester Lonzo, Debbie Picklesheimer, Rico Blancaflor saying good morning. The Point and Guam. Jen Conception Delgado. Hey, Rico, how did you do on the Carolina-Tampa game? That everybody said, Blake watching in the studio the other day says, I'm just going to give you this, Ray. It's going to be your guys. Tampa Bay going to lose handily to Carolina. And that's all there is to it. Yeah, Tampa Bay won that one by about 6 points, didn't they? About a touchdown, 20-14, something like that.
Yes, they did, and everybody in our pick'em group got that one wrong.
Look, virtually everybody that signed up across the country in the pro football pick'ems got it wrong. Everybody, 97% when I looked at it, were going for Carolina. Imagine their disappointment as that game concluded. I got Jen Conception Delgado, Vicky Ganash's Borja, Keena McCausland watching the rainfall from off island. Ismael with an interesting comment. Dang, if we aren't suing priests, We're suing doctors. Well, when can we start suing Gov Guam for operating like a circus? Keena says, stay safe, everybody. Watch football. Michelle Pierre there, Randy Kruger, Big Sister Shelley online, Linda Gabriel, Juanita Hugo, Chris Abalencia, Jeff Pleadwell is online. Man, I wonder Jeff, what was the weather like over at Pirates Cove over the weekend? Lillian Cruz is on, Simon Sanchez, former Governor Carl T.C. Gutierrez, Therese Rigel, who's doing some ironing. I was thinking about you yesterday, Therese. I'll be careful how I say this because you're a married woman, but I was thinking about you because I got some ironing done yesterday. Like I said, I wasn't able to get any grill marks going, and I'd already fixed up all of the tenactac that I was going to make, and it got to be, I don't know, about 5 o'clock going, I am absolutely bored out of my mind, and there's a pile of shirts, one of which I'm wearing right now, that started calling out to me saying, iron me, iron me.
I'd like to say that ironing is the next best thing to grill marks, but I'd be lying.
That's a total fabrication. 6:25 in the morning. And a lot of people might be asking this morning, after all of the rain yesterday, is there school today? With details on that from the Guam Public School System at GDOA, I've got Isa Baz online. Good morning, Isa.
Morning, Ray.
Are you all recovered from a great night of goofing off on Saturday?
Yes, are you?
Oh God, that was so much fun. That was just crazy fun. We were both Isa and I don't know, 300 or 400 people were all crowded into the Sheraton's ballroom for a craft beer deal that was also a whiskey fest that was going on, and that was all kinds. I don't normally drink whiskey, but I had a taste of, I thought, some pretty good stuff that night.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I'm glad you had a good time. Well, let's get to today, because it was nice. I don't know if you noticed as you left the Sheraton how breezy everything was, and then it started to rain like the dickens. Have we got notification from all the principals and maintenance guys that the schools are ready to open today?
Yes, so all schools will open except for 2 schools. And those schools are Agata Johnson Middle School and Ordot Chalampago Elementary School. So all schools open except for those 2.
But those 2 are closed not due to any rain issues, correct?
Yeah, so it's not due to any rain issues. Yesterday, the Joint Information Center sent out a press release indicating that both of those schools would be sprayed with insecticide just as a precaution. And so today, the superintendent yesterday evening just decided to go ahead and cancel classes to provide an opportunity to brief with our staff and also prepare some information that will be disseminated to parents.
Okay, just information about what kind of varmint spray was used in there and things to watch out for, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just kind of the basic stuff. Any word on any other issues with the Department of Education with all of that rain that we had yesterday? I mean, some of it, no doubt, are going to be some flooded areas near the schools, but the schools themselves are capable of opening.
Yeah, so all other schools, even with the heavy weather yesterday, will be prepared to open. All of our schools, they're pretty prepared. They're familiar with this type of weather, and this morning there won't be any issues with opening. Gotcha.
Just a note here for parents that have kids at Untalan Middle School. If you're on Route 10 headed in that direction, right between about Wendy's and the school, expect some traffic to slow down. My understanding, I got a note from the guys yesterday that said a big chunk of the roadway might have caved in there. So I'll see if we can get some more details on that. Untalan Middle School is open, but it might take you a while to get there if you're coming in from the Wendy's side. Any other major announcements you need us to take care of for DOE?
That's it for now. I just want to thank you guys for helping us spread the word, and hope everyone will stay tuned to our local news outlets and to any official announcements coming out through DOE or the Joint Information Center.
I got you. Isa, if you got anything else, you know where to send the information.
Thank you so much, Ray. Have a great morning.
I promise you I will. 6:28 in the morning, and that's the word. Kids, get dressed. There is school today. And as I said, looking over, and I might do a little bit more of a comprehensive look at what's happening on Guam's roadways, but you are going to see in some of the usual spots some amount of slowing down. In fact, I'm seeing some on 8, 10, and 16 right now. 8, 10, and 16, I passed by there on Saturday. There needs to be a reminder until they're all done with the upgrades and the fixes that they're doing on 8, 10, and 16. There needs to be a lot more signage. I don't know, in Agana or Mighty says, hey, if you're headed to that intersection, turn around because it's pokey through there. It's absolutely slow, and they had the roadways down to, golly, it was one lane in each direction. I want to say No, it was 2 lanes in each direction, but they'd closed off 2 of the outside lanes on the southbound travel side, and that got a little bit confusing. I made it through okay because I was going to the north, but anybody that was coming in from the south side, man, traffic backed up to Barragata Heights. Absolutely crazy through there. 6:29 in the morning. Who else is hanging out? Dave Duenas, Dave Torrey, Commissioner Roy Gamboa is there. Rose Greeno is there. Al Bautista is saying those darn red-green lines on the Pick'ems may be changed back to the Panthers. Yeah. Yeah, I thought so as well. I wonder how many people lost on that one. 888-825-888-TALK is the telephone number here at the radio station. Yeah, it's Football Monday, and as far as I know, the weather in most places is conducive to playing football, so we'll get through the list here in just a little bit and tell you who's ahead in that first round of football play. But first, we need to find out what the big stories are. To do that, Kevin Kerrigan back now in the chair for the Guam Daily Post.
Hafa and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, the attorney for Harvey Arun Kansau wants a Superior Court judge to dismiss the murder charges against his client. Kansau is one of the men charged in connection with the killing of Sonter Sukin in Anigua in June. His defense attorney, Randy Cunliffe, claims the charges against Kansau now amount to double jeopardy. The victim, Sukin, died at the hospital several days after a brutal beating. Following the alleged attack, Kansau was charged with misdemeanor assault. He's since been charged with murder. It wasn't until after the victim died that he, along with co-defendant J.K. Sukion, was charged with murder, conspiracy to commit aggravated assault, and aggravated assault. Sukion has pleaded not guilty to the charges. National Weather Service is continuing to monitor what is now Tropical Storm Pepa, formerly 17W. As of early this morning, Pepa was located about 385 miles northeast of Guam with maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour, making it a minimal tropical storm, but no further intensification is expected at this time. It's moving northwest at 17 miles an hour and is expected to pass far north of the Marianas, posing no threat to Guam or the other islands. The Mariana Islands are not expected to experience any tropical storm force winds. Guam can expect, however, occasional rain this morning, then mostly cloudy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon. The flash flood watch has now been canceled for Guam and the rest of the Mariana Islands. However, a high surf advisory remains in effect, and hazardous surf of 10 to 12 feet is being reported. That's causing localized beach erosion and dangerous rip currents, which pose life-threatening conditions for swimmers. The Department of Administration is mailing out 487 tax refund checks today, amounting to about $1.3 million in all. The checks cover error-free tax returns filed as of February 21st. As always, residents who have unpaid bills at GMH or fines owed to the judiciary will have their refund checks garnished. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
6:32 in the morning. Let's call that iConnect time. Give iConnect a ring later on and find out how much money they can save you on mobile and internet plans.
Live the balanced lifestyle. Take Care Insurance offers proven wellness and fitness programs to encourage individuals and families to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle through preventative care, being active, eating right, relaxing and unwinding, and being socially connected. They have the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs for all ages. Join the movement. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram or visit takecareasia.com to learn more.
IHOP now has buttermilk crispy chicken made with all-natural chicken breast and a signature blend of seasonings. Why am I running? Because IHOP now has buttermilk crispy chicken made with all-natural chicken breast and a signature blend of seasonings. Whoa! We're talking chicken sandwiches, chicken and waffles, even chicken and pancakes. But move it, Gray Van! IHOP has crispy chicken!
Run in to try IHOP's new buttermilk crispy chicken strips and pancakes for just $6.99. For a limited time, price and participating restaurants may vary.
6:33. Most of the roadways are running fairly clear right now. Looking at from north to south, Anderson Air Force Base, clean. Mostly northbound traffic, actually. Southbound traffic shouldn't start going until you get to about where Ipalpao is. All of the intersections through there and into the downtown area are actually running a lot smoother than I anticipate this morning. Might see a little bit of a backup over at the Guam International Airport and Route 8 and some of the usual spots, construction areas and things like that, where traffic is slowing down southbound. 4 and 10 is clean right now. The intersection of 4 and 15 on the way into Aposento Garden, I've got traffic in both directions snarled at that light. Might see a little bit of traffic at Sinahanya when you get up to that light, and then down into the Agana area. Should not be too much of a major problem. Don't see anything happening at Navy Hospital or Guam High, and looking at the intersection of 1 and 2 at Sumai. That one is running unusually clean this morning. Is the Navy not working today? What's up with that? 6:34, that's right now traffic here on The Point.
This is Ronnie. Ronnie is about to break his piggy bank.
Come on, piggy bank.
Ronnie wants to upgrade his smartphone.
And this piggy's gonna help me.
If Ronnie had signed up for GTA's handset payment option, he could have selected a new smartphone with an affordable monthly plan.
I could have what?
Exactly. Sign up for HBO at GTA and don't break the bank.
I'm sorry, piggy bank.
Terms and conditions apply. GTA, we start with you.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird. The bird, bird, bird.
Circle K has a 3-pound rotisserie chicken, now available for the introductory price of $9.99. It's the biggest, tastiest, and most affordable rotisserie chicken of its kind on island. Save even more by getting a family meal with 2 sides and a bottle of wine for only $25.99. The Circle K rotisserie chicken. Get yours today. Circle K. Take it easy.
Any speaker, anytime. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Was working great yesterday. All kinds of WhatsApp videos that found their way into my phone and find their way onto the actual Facebook Live page here this morning. I got, I think, an interesting one and I don't know exactly where it was taken, and it takes you a second to figure out what it is that you're looking at. Is that the ocean? Is that the reef line? But it's not. It's a scene of the cliff lines around Guam somewhere, and there are some significant shots. Oh, there it is. Look at all of that water coming down. It looks like somebody left a spigot open in a bunch of different places, and we saw all of that. It must be down south somewhere like that. But watch out for that, because it's not something that you see all the time. So if you get an opportunity to snap a picture of it, I'd take it. 6:37 in the morning. Now, your mileage may vary. I mean, it's different conditions in different parts of the island, different neighborhoods, different villages. But I did not ever lose electricity yesterday, and with all of the rain and the wind and all of that was knocking around the house yesterday, I was almost sure that I'd lose it for a few minutes somewhere. Art Paris from the Guam Power Authority on the line. What's going on? Why didn't I lose power, Art?
Well, actually, Ray, we did have some outages last night.
No.
Different parts of the island. Last night, about 7 p.m., we had a outage that affected some areas of Iniga going up towards Nimitz Hill area, as well as Maina. A bunch of bamboo came in contact with power lines by that stretch of road by the former Bank of Guam up to that War Museum.
Oh, I know the spot exactly. Such pretty plants, but they wreak such havoc for the Power Authority.
That's correct. The winds picked up later in the evening, and it caused some bamboo to come in contact lines, and we had some damaged hardware equipment by your Inigo sub. So it took us about 2 hours to get that cleared. This morning, we had some vegetation that came in contact with lines and Santa Ana subdivision going up to Talangkota, and that's been cleared off already. But one particular road, Talambarada, is still out for power this morning. Line crews are on site. They're clearing some vegetation that's offline, and crews are coming in this morning, and then more line crews will go out and still continue that work throughout the day. And we're going to try and cover more of the back streets up north and down south. as well as some areas on Central to do more of that work.
Well, we're in an interesting place in technology where it's easier for the Power Authority to see some of these dark pockets because everything is digital. It's radio red, not radio red, but I mean it's all kind of online. So you can see where all of these places are where there should be meters spinning, and if they're not, then you know that you've got a problem, and dispatch can send the boys out.
That's correct. That smart meter, that AMI, what we call AMI technology, allows us to network and find out which meters are not sending signals back, and we can determine the hot spots. What we don't know is actually what's causing it. So that's why those trouble calls coming to our dispatch center are still important, because they will give us that field and intel to find out what's going on out there. I mean, just yesterday, we got a call about a canopy that was not secured that came in contact with a service line that knocked out power to a particular stretch of road. But, you know, that had to be cleared. That was a hazard in and of itself. But, you know, it just tells you that, we know that particular lane is out, but we don't know what's causing it until we get out there, and we have to shut everything out to clear the metal off the lines.
Day like today, day like yesterday, I'm kind of curious. On the solar fields that we have out there, I forget the name of the company that does it, but in those solar fields that we've got, do they go down to zero on days like today? Are they contributing nothing to the grid?
Well, they practically, that's true. If it's heavy overcast like it was yesterday, they will contribute zip to the grid, and that's where you know, our plans going forward would help us over these short periods of time. If we can get those utility scale battery systems up in place, we're able to store more of that energy and shift it on the peak. But anytime you would have extended overcast like we've been having the past week and a half, you're gonna need to revert back to conventional generation to pick up that load and serve during the peak hours and still cover for the reserve.
You know, I'm kind of curious with everybody that probably stayed indoors yesterday and all the rice cooking and kuddu making that took place yesterday. Everything's on simmer today. Does the power company see any additional? I mean, you guys keep track of all that stuff. You know, rainy Sunday, and everybody's staying indoors. Do you see a lot more residential crank on your record keeping?
Actually, no. It's most residential customers. Their load or the amount of power that they use mostly come from the air conditioning. So and so it was really cool over the weekend. So you see those loads go down significantly.
Oh yeah. I didn't even think of that, but yeah, I was outside yesterday, right in front of the compressor that runs the house air conditioner, and it wasn't on. I mean, I had cold air running from the machine, running into the living room, but the outdoor unit the fan wasn't on. I guess it had sucked out all of the hot air and said, "Okay, that's good, 75. You're going to be there all day."
Even here in Canada, I had to shut off the aircon because, you know, it was already cool enough within the house just to walk around and do whatever we needed to. The only thing that was on was the dryer.
yeah, 2 or 3 loads just from junk that got wet going from outside to inside, outside to inside. Well, I'm glad the Power Authority is in shape. Nothing major. If you've got some issues, call the dispatch trouble line. What's the number?
475-1472-73 or 74. Don't forget to leave your full name, contact number, and address. And if you see it's vegetation, let us know. If it's anything else other than that, just give us a holler.
There are the possibilities of down lines. There was sufficient wind, maybe something off of a utility pole. If that's the case, you see a black wire on the ground, assume it's power and assume it's got electricity going through it, and make the appropriate phone calls.
That's right. Stay clear of it, and just give us a location where it's at, and we'll dispatch line crew out to take care of it right away.
All right. We talk about situations like this, and it's just good practice for the utility, for residents around here to get used to what things get like when the wind blows and it's coming down sheets of water out there. And one of these days we might have ourselves a typhoon, and like I said, this is good practice to make sure we know what to do, where the flashlights are and the batteries and all of that. I'll talk to you pretty soon, Art.
Thank you very much for your time.
No, always a pleasure yakking with you. 6:43 in the morning, and yeah, that's the way it worked for me. I'd finished up everything yesterday morning and put some gas in the tank and put some air in the tires and all of that, and went back to the house where there really wasn't much going on. Put on a couple of Netflix shows and pondered what kind of breakfast I was going to eat, and that got into what kind of lunch I'm going to eat, and then I decided I'm going to take one of those cool kind of rainy day naps. And normally, those are good for what, 45 minutes, hour, something like that. I think I was out for 2 hours on the nap call yesterday, just because it was dark outside and you get the rain falling against the window, and what a delightful sound. I'm not one of those that complains a lot when it rains, because I don't generally have a whole lot to worry about. I live on a hill, and any water that comes just goes straight by the house, and it doesn't pool up in the yard or anything like that. I recognize, again, my mileage may vary. I am not the same. So I did not feel the 8 inches of rain that we had yesterday. It may be the exception based on some of the videos that we got. This one here, very recognizable video, and it's not the first time that we've seen anything like this. Watching on Facebook Live, it's a shot of what it looked like in front of the Sandcastle Entertainment Complex yesterday, and there's the part of Pleasure Island with all the little food places as you make your way up to the outrigger, and it's underwater. It's flooded to the curb underwater that they've got there, and I want to say this might be the first of the big rains that they've had that will test out some of the brand new drainage lines that they'd put in there. They spent some time in the last couple of years making some additions to the drainage so they could catch it better, and then it would go to the ponding basin over by the police department, and then it would ponding, I guess. It would just be ponded there in the ponding basement.
Yeah.
There's not much of a plan to get rid of it, so once the ponding basin gets full, it spills right back out into the street. And as you know, as we've talked about on many occasions, that part of Tumon is literally the sink. It is the cañada. It is the low point of Tumon. And they put a lot of asphalt and concrete down there. And if you put a lot of asphalt and concrete down there, water doesn't have too many places to go. And when it does, it fills it up, it saturates it, and that's the end of the story.
Unfortunately, they didn't put enough concrete where they could have to make it better for the tourists. They should have elevated those sidewalks about 12 inches and could have kept people from having to walk into puddles of water.
That's a great idea. It's a great suggestion, and something that maybe we ought to ponder, because it will take a long time, I think, until we've decided. I want to say I got to go back to a mitigation report that came out a few years ago. One of the recommendations that thankfully wasn't taken, we spent some time talking about this the other day as well, was it would sit in the ponding basin, and then they'd open up a sluice out to Tumon, out into the actual bay, and they'd take all of that runoff, all of that fresh water, and put it in the Tumon Bay. And everybody said that might be the dumbest idea of all time, but they said, yeah, but it's the cheapest. What's the next most expensive? Well, we'll do a better job of catching the water, and then they said one of these days we'll figure out whether we can pump it out of Tumon. Which in my mind, we know how to do it. You call the guys over at GWA; they know how to pump water,
right.
And we're not talking about sewage or anything. This is just plain old rainwater. There ought to be a way that you could take it, pump it, and put it. There is on one end of Tumon, there's an old quarry that would take about a year to fill up, even with the rain that we've got now. So we could pump it up in that direction, or maybe add it to some of the other.
And not only that, but if you pumped it in there, it would naturally filtrate back into the aquifer as usable water.
Right.
Imagine that.
Or somebody said maybe some of the other things that we could do is catch some of it. It's kind of gray, but we can also clean it up a little bit and use it for watering plants,
right,
or that kind of thing. 888-8255-888-TALK. We'll get around to figuring out what the long-term solution of that is going to be. In the meantime, we are going to have to hang out and have to do with ourselves and our tourists pushing their baby strollers through all of that water. 6:47 in the morning, 888-8255-888-TALK. There she is, Maria Pangilinan from the Guam Election Commission. Good morning, Maria.
Half a day, Ray Gibson.
Half a day. Did you stay dry over the last couple of days?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Did you manage to stay dry yesterday?
Yes, we did, even though we ventured out a couple of times.
What did you end up doing? Is just out for supplies, or did you go and actually, like the Doni Festival or something?
Oh, no, I went to the Island Music Awards for the two boys, and then In the morning, we went to church.
Oh, okay, all right. So yeah, and then yesterday, get home and do all of the other stuff. I did check up on that on the chapter and verse that you sent me on with regard to the Michael Nicholas claim.
Yes, sir.
That J.P. Manuel had, and based on what I read, we don't invoke confidentiality until until the Guam Election Commission itself says there's probable cause. Has that happened yet?
No, it hasn't. But I think in chapter 17, when the confidentiality kicks in much earlier than that, Ray Gibson.
Okay, that wasn't the way I interpreted the law, but I'm not the lawyer. Maybe you've got a lawyer that looked at it and saw it another way. But I guess the other part of this is: has the Guam Election Commission yet notified or given Mike Nicholas anything in writing to let him know that JP swore out a complaint against him, and he is expected to make some kind of response? Has that happened yet?
That everything from the time a complaint is received in our office on campaign finance, as far as campaign finance goes, everything is confidential until such time that the commission deems what kind of or until the commission deems whether it's a probable cause or not.
Right. But see that again. That's not my read on that measure that you're talking about. So we're going to have to maybe agree to disagree on that. I'll see if I can find a lawyer that might be able to point me in a clear direction. But so you can't tell me whether or not Mike has been notified?
No, I can't tell. I can't talk about anything at this point.
Okay, all right, that is fine. I'll check him on Facebook. Maybe he'll let me know if he's heard from you guys over at the Election Commission. Because my guess is that he knows that the complaint was sworn out. I know that he made some kind of response on Facebook, but I don't know if that's his end of the day official response. Now, the Election Commission is going to be getting together on the 19th, correct?
That's correct. That's this Thursday.
Now, can you tell me about that meeting? What's going to be discussed Thursday?
There's
will Michael Nicholas be discussed on Thursday?
That's up to the commission.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have the agenda in front of me. There's a few things that will be discussed, including that our invitation for bid has gone out for new tabulators.
I saw that. Actually, that's the reason why I called, because I wanted to find out what kind of election toy are you buying for me, Maria Pangilinan?
New ones that could probably read the ballots and take a picture of it, so that if there needs to be a recount, it'd be easier and much faster.
So it would take a picture, would count the vote, and then snap a picture simultaneously?
That's correct.
And so once that digital image is in the computer, it would make a recount that much faster?
There's all kinds of things that have happened since our machines, our 650s that we have, and that's one of them. There's a bunch out there now. There's a couple of new equipment out there at least, and one's much faster than there are two new ones, and one's much faster than the other. But we'll see what comes into us and how affordable they can be.
Do they need to be compatible with the old 650s?
We can get brand new ones, totally brand new ones.
Would we have different forms to fill out? Would we have different looking ballots?
No, not at all. We would still. The law requires that we still have paper ballots. We should still have that. Depends on what we get. Most likely, we will always have paper ballots based on the law. Will the ballots look different? We'll see, but I think all the scanners that I saw this past August shows that the ballots are about the same.
Okay, so still the paper ballots. Now, my recollection is that because of the sophisticated nature of these ballots, the layout had to be determined by working with the manufacturer, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so any new manufacturer that is out there, could we talk to them about maybe making it so that we can have 1, 2, 3 different lines on the ballot? So you've got Republican, Democratic, and Independent.
There are new equipment available that can do that.
Mm-hmm. And then something that makes it easier to count write-ins. That would be nice too.
Oh, ooh. One of the things that we're looking for is something where it can sort out for write-ins without stopping.
Brr. So when Frank runs again?
Ray Gibson, is that what you're planning to do?
I don't know. Just to complicate our lives. Yeah, maybe we'd do something fun like that just to see what happens. I don't know. I looked at the reports. I didn't get all that many write-ins.
That's right. But you know, Senator Frank, I think, got most of them.
Yeah. So people, why bother writing Ray's name in there if we know that we're going to write in Frank's? But it was a fun exercise, if you ask me. Listen, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your interpretation of the law. But maybe if you could talk to one of the guys in there and say, yeah, Ray's really bugging me about this because it looks like, in the very least, there has to be some kind of notification that is sent to Mike that happens before the probable cause, and that's my interpretation of where the confidentiality starts.
We've gone through the chapter, and we will go through it again, sir, to look into it. But
okay.
Right now, the interpretation is, you know, everything is confidential at this time.
Roger that. Hey, listen, one last thing here. Jimmy Moylan wants to know if on the new systems that we get, if they're in time for the next general election, will there be room for referendums?
I think all the machines that I saw, there's room for referendum, but as far as the referendum and initiatives and legislative measures go, the timing is dependent on when it is submitted to the Guam Election Commission.
Right, because, you know, Jimmy's got that thing. He wants to put the BPT back to 4%, and we're wild about that opportunity. Of course, there's also an opportunity. Who knows? The guys over at the Self-Determination Decolonization Commission might be able to find sufficient language to be able to put some kind of referendum with regard to self-determination on the next general election.
We'll dust off our election code again and read into that, sir.
Groovy. 656, Marie Pangolina, thanks so much for the time. I'm glad you stayed dry yesterday.
Thank you so much, Ray Gibson.
Talk to you pretty soon. Isn't that fun? I love the way she says my name. 6:56 in the morning. And closing in on the end of the program, I do want to say good morning to Valerie Cruz online and Facebook Live, Sandra De Leon Guerrero, Gina Cono, Ron and Cindy De La Rosa. I got Xavier Atalik, or Atalik, depending on which island you're from. Kenny Williams is online. Says, beautiful waterfalls, maybe down south. Agate Pneumatic area is what Dwayne Santa says. James Joyce is on. Kevin Kanata is there. Rick Leone and Smug Wimp is online. OMG, stay safe, everybody. Well, the day to stay safe, we should stay safe every day, but the real day to stay safe was yesterday. Smug's there. Nate's on. Richard Clark's there. Rosette Perez, Tony Annette and Pinko Addis saying, good morning, everybody. Sabine Chargaloff saying, good morning. Dag nabbit, I'm late today. Have a great, safe morning. Sabine, never let that happen again. So that's where we are in terms of Facebook Live. There might be a little bit, our internet, like everybody else's, I think has been a little bit spotty over the last 24, 48 hours. So I will make an acknowledgement here that you might need to check back in. If you lose the feed, check back in a couple of minutes, and the internet should restore itself. But we got great feeds now going to the website, thepoint.gu. Facebook has got a strong stream and a nice, almost high-def feed going to YouTube right now. And if you want to figure out, why we send them out at different locations, I like Facebook Live because of the sheer interactive ability of it. I mean, you can write to me, and I can read your comments. Like Sabine said, I mean Monday. So if you want me to see you and be able to interact with your comments, that's a great place to do it. You can put comments on the YouTube live feed, but I don't generally monitor that in the morning, so I won't see it. And we have no monitoring capabilities other than watching it the same time you do on the point.gu. So if that's the way you want to cruise the program anonymously, then those are the suggestions that we've got for you. And if you're wondering, if you're thinking about, I wish I had an excuse to chime in and make some kind of a point on Facebook Live. Here, I'll give you one. Chime in and make a point about whether or not it's really Tinactac if you don't put tomatoes in it. I was asked that question. I'd shot a picture of my Tinactac that I made yesterday to somebody, and they said, "Where's the tomatoes?" And I said, "I don't have any tomatoes in there." And they said, "Well, you can't really call it Tinactac." Oh, okay, ground beef and onions and garlic and some green, what is that, green beans? And that's generally how I do mine. What's yours? What was your go-to kadu yesterday at the house? Ponder that and then write it up for me on the Facebook Live. Gary Shawnow says, "Go Bills." Did the Bills win today? Hot dog. Well, I got at least one. I'm annoyed because between all of the fat ball experts that I'm surrounded by, everybody said Carolina going to make it. 97% of the people on the pick distribution on the Yahoo Pick'ems said, yeah, we're going for Carolina, and they ended up losing. What the heck happened to Cam? We'll go over that when it's time for us to pretend to talk about sports. We got Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point coming up before too much longer. We'll take a look at what happened on the market and where oil is and such. That's all ahead right here on the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 FM. KUSG getting you. This is The Point.
Hasn't happened in a dozen years. Auto workers could walk off the job at GM tonight. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. Job security, just one of the many sticking points in talks between the UAW and General Motors. The old contract expired a minute before midnight last night.
This is the first nationwide strike for the union since 2007, and we're now learning that if it does go into effect, another union will refuse work in solidarity. The International Brotherhood of Teamsters announced if General Motors doesn't work out a deal with United Auto Workers, they will refuse to transport GM vehicles to dealerships. Teamsters General President Jim Hoffa writes, our 1.4 million members stand in solidarity with the UAW and will honor their picket lines. We laud the UAW for its work to ensure that its GM employees are treated with respect and dignity on the job.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich, along with the nearly 49,000 GM workers and the Teamsters, GM suppliers would also be affected. Iran dismissing claims by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo that it was behind drone attacks on 2 Saudi oil facilities Saturday. Houthi rebels in Yemen claimed responsibility, but a U.S. official says that launch did not come south from Yemen, but northwest, where Iran is located.
Rhode Island Democrat Representative David Cicilline on the House Foreign Affairs Committee wants to know how President Trump plans to respond.
This is made very complicated because the president doesn't appear to have a strategy for dealing with Iran.
South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham tweeted yesterday that it's time for the U.S. to, quote, put back on the table an attack on Iranian oil refineries if they continue their provocations.
Fox's Molly Henneberg. An Iranian commander says his country is prepared for a full-fledged war. America is listening to Fox News.
30 years ago, the very first Subway restaurant opened in Guam. Now, 15 restaurants later, Subway Restaurants is celebrating this milestone with a buy one, get one free offer every weekend, starting September 14th through October 12th. Come celebrate 30 years. Enjoy your favorite sandwich, salad, or wrap, all made with freshly sliced veggies and bread baked in every store. Take advantage of this buy one, get one deal. It's Subway Restaurants' way of saying thank you, Guam, for 30 wonderful years. Subway, make it what you want.
Hey, do you know what time the bank closes? I need to deposit my check.
You know you can do that from your phone.
I can?
With Bank of Guam's mobile app, it's easy. Just endorse the back and snap a pic to deposit it into your account. You can do this from anywhere, anytime, which means no rushing to catch the bank and no lines.
With Bank of Guam's mobile app and online banking, we're always open. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
The madder the Hulk gets, the stronger the Hulk gets. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, comparing himself to that cartoon character, says he is confident he can reach a Brexit deal before the October 31st deadline. If not, he says the UK leaves the EU without one. Another allegation of sexual misconduct against now Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh goes back to when he was an undergrad at Yale. The New York Times reports a new book claims Kavanaugh exposed himself at a party, and the rest involved a female classmate, allegedly. That claim
is already garnering the ire of the President of the United States, who said this on Twitter about the allegations. He said Brett Kavanaugh should start suing people for libel, or the Justice Department should come to his rescue. The lies being told about him are unbelievable. False accusations without recrimination. When does it stop? They're trying to influence his opinions. Can't let that happen. On Capitol Hill, yes, strong reaction from across the political spectrum, beginning with a Democrat running to replace the president in January 2021. Kamala Harris, senator from California, writing this: I sat through those confirmation hearings. Brett Kavanaugh lied to the U.S. Senate and, most importantly, to the American people. He was put on the court through a sham process, and his place on the court is an insult to the pursuit of truth and justice. He must be impeached.
Fox's Kevin Cork. Other Democrats running for president busy this Sunday. Former Vice President Joe Biden spoke at a church service in Birmingham, Alabama, marking the anniversary of a deadly bombing that killed 4 little girls in 1963. Julian Castro attending a town hall in South Carolina. Bernie Sanders sitting it out this Sunday, resting his voice. I'm Jane Metzler. This is Fox News.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites: AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
We understand what matters to you because at Docomo Pacific, we're a family too. With the Now Family program, mom, dad, and kids stay connected on the latest devices the whole family can enjoy. For just $155 a month, get 3 lines with 30 gigs of 4G LTE data each, and endless use of your favorite apps without affecting your monthly data bucket. Add more, get more, save more. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
7 o'clock news from the Guam Daily Post is being brought to you by Proline Automotive, customizing Guam's finest rides. Located in the Harmon Industrial Park.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Classes are canceled today at Agata Johnson Middle School and Ordat Chalanpago Elementary School to allow a local contractor to again spray the school grounds and interior of the schools with an insecticide to get rid of mosquitoes. The spraying of schools started yesterday on Sunday and will resume at 3:30 this afternoon, according to a release from the Office of Civil Defense. It's part of an effort launched by Public Health to prevent the spread of dengue fever. Just last Wednesday, Public Health confirmed the first locally acquired case of dengue fever. The infected person had no recent history of travel off-island. The confirmed case on Guam follows an outbreak of the virus currently affecting Yap, Palau, the Marshall Islands, and the Philippines. Residents in a 200-meter radius of the confirmed case will also be asked to allow to have their homes sprayed both inside and outside with insecticides to control adult and larval mosquitoes. Public Health has identified 82 residences that will be affected. Agata Johnson and Orda Chalanpago are being closed as a precaution today only. A statement from Guam DOE advises that classes at all other Guam public schools are not affected and they will operate normally as scheduled today. Only those 2 schools are being closed today. Dengue fever is transmitted by humans by the bite of an infected mosquito and cannot spread directly from person to person. OxyContin maker Purdue Pharma has reportedly reached a tentative $12 billion settlement agreement with some plaintiffs, including Guam, over the company's alleged role in fueling the U.S. opioid crisis. According to Reuters, which cited people familiar with the case, lawyers representing more than 2,000 jurisdictions who sued Purdue are weighing the settlement offer from the company's owners, the Sackler family. In August, Guam joined the lawsuit, which alleges that Purdue Pharma and its related businesses designed, financed, and waged a marketing campaign to mislead patients into believing their opioid drugs were safe to treat pain on a long-term basis. Attorney General Levin Camacho declined to comment on the report of a tentative agreement. Camacho said the negotiations are still ongoing. We'll have more news after this.
Proline Automotive has everything to customize your whip. From custom wheels to Nankang tires or just hubcaps, they have it. Feel better that it's protected with a dash cover, car cover, seat covers, or floor mats. Visit Proline Automotive, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
Chili's Guam invites you to our new location, now open on the second floor of Tumon Sands Plaza. For the past 10 years, we have made Guam our home and celebrated moments with our familia and friends. From birthdays to first dates, anniversaries, and everything else in between. We're keeping it going with our new location where you can hang out with family and friends over fajitas, burgers, ribs, and margaritas. Treat yourself to an elevated guest experience at Chili's like no place else. Now open on the second floor of Tumon Sands Plaza. Chili's, new location, same bold flavors.
10 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The federal government has been ordered to pay $11.5 million in a medical negligence lawsuit filed by the parents of a baby boy born at Naval Hospital, Guam, in 2014. The lawsuit alleges that members of the medical team at Naval Hospital failed to properly and timely resuscitate the baby at birth and failed to recognize obvious signs of distress due to lack of blood flow and oxygen. Deirdre and Daniel Bebo were stationed on Guam in 2014 but now reside in Virginia. They filed the lawsuit against the federal government, stating their son suffered severe, disabling, and permanent brain damage. In December of 2017, the Department of Navy initially denied the claim, but on Friday, a federal court in Virginia approved the monetary award, which will be used to help the family care for their child. Family initially sought $150 million in damages. A distressed female swimmer was pulled from the waters of Tumon Bay Saturday afternoon. The woman was found over the reef and pulled ashore at Gun Beach by lifeguards about 5:45 in the afternoon. She was pulseless and breathless, according to Guam Fire spokesman Kevin Riley. The woman was rushed to Naval Hospital with CPR being performed en route. Her condition has not been announced. A female friend of the distressed swimmer was able to make it back to shore. She was taken to Guam Regional Medical City and evaluated for exhaustion and minor injuries. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at our weather.
I just can't imagine what would have possessed somebody to go out into the water yesterday. It was churning and just ugly out there.
Still dangerous.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that first. There's a high surf advisory in effect through Tuesday night along west and south-facing reefs. High risk of rip currents through Tuesday night as well. Even though they pulled it, just a note to my hiking buddies, you might want to avoid certain rivers and waterfalls out in the central highlands of the island because it's snotty and soggy out there as well. And we've lost people to flash flooding and drownings out out there in the last year or so. Let's not have any more of those. Today, breezy, occasional rain in the morning, then mostly cloudy, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms this afternoon. Tonight, the winds ought to decrease steadily. The rain ought to decrease steadily to about 10 miles an hour after midnight. Highs 85 degrees and overnight lows should be about 77 degrees. Sunset tonight, 6:21. Sunrise is at 6:09. Did you refresh the weather radar, my friend?
I did not. No.
Oh, well, I'll do that now, and then we can talk about what it is that we might be seeing and how the radar might help us detect what's going to happen in traffic in the next hour or so.
Yeah, checking radar here as it gets refreshed, and
looks like we're in the last of it.
Yeah, it looks like most of it's blown on through. But can we pop it up on the screen real quick?
You want me so everybody can see it?
Yeah, because I did.
Oops.
Yeah, it looks like some consolidation taking place here with Tropical Storm 17W. By the way, the name of the storm, Pepa, which is a name from Macau, and that's one of their popular pet fish there. Mm-hmm. Now, we do see some more monsoonal flow coming in from the southeast. That's eventually going to have to come through later on today, and that's why we're still keeping a chance of rain in there. But due to this consolidation, it seems to have taken place over the past 6 hours or so. Most of the rainfall over us right now has been taken away, and that's to be to be expected because it's wrapping around the center of the storm, which is actually quite far to the northwest. Once we get this line of monsoonal energy that comes on through later on this afternoon, that should clear things out for us kind of nicely as we go into tomorrow. And then Wednesday, again, still some talk about the possible weak disturbance bringing a little bit more rainfall back in towards the midweek, but it won't be anything like this. Looking at satellite real quick here, you can see that the convection is actually displaced from the center, or has been. You see a bit of a bow in the first section of that satellite. That shows those really strong northeasterly winds, that wind shear kind of keeping it down. Good thing we had the wind shear. If not, this probably would have been a typhoon as it rolled on through. Yeah. For now, it is sort of consolidating, though, getting a little bit of wrap around the center now, a bit more, and so, but it's pulling away. So it'll pull all that energy away with it over the next 12 hours, and by tomorrow we won't even remember there was a storm.
Oh, I'll remember it. 7:14, I've got things ingrained into my head now. 7:15, as I said, and that's news and weather together here on The Point. Might be a little bit slow getting into the Wendy's out in Barragata, Manila, Route 10. We got traffic in both directions that is snagged just before you get there, and anticipate slow going through Wendy's on your way up to Untalan Middle School. Or here's what you do. You pull into the Wendy's, you go in there and grab yourself some breakfast and let the kids sneak into the gate, because right behind Wendy's is the back gate for Untalan Middle School, don't you know? Taggy, try it out. Why not? And while you're there, try the now Wendy's Bacon Fest that is going on. These guys sell more bacon cheeseburgers than anyone on the planet, and they make your Applewood smoked dreams come true. Try the new bacon jalapeno cheeseburger, the bacon double stack in the $5 biggie bag. Get yours now at Wendy's for Bacon Fest. Ray Gibson Show also brought to you by American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water. In fact, I'm having some of that. My buddy Michael Knight knows every once in a while I'll forget my coffee at the house. It's just one of those things. I got the wallet, and I got my eyeglasses, and I got my phone, and I'll walk right out the door and leave the coffee there to get cold all afternoon long. And then I sit around here and make noises because I don't have my coffee on me. So you found, where'd you find some Keurig coffee? It's Colombian blend.
Yeah, it's Javalia. Colombian. It's actually, but pretty pricey. Actually, it wasn't that pricey. It was only like $12 at Kmart. It was right there on the shelf.
So you, nice guy, you picked some up for me.
I did.
Yes. Well, thank you for thinking of me like that.
That's why
I do
I'm your
appreciate
producer,
that. 7:16 in the morning, one less thing to actually worry about. Ray Gibson Show also brought to you by Nambo. I think I'm going to find a way to take out some insurance on you. You can save a bundle on your producer and the coffee with Nambo Insurance's Bundle Up Plan. Give them a ring today, 477-9754. And American President Lines bring you portions of the program APL Global Presence with a local home.
The Ray Gibson Show, bringing you closer to the action. This is The Point, Guam's FM News Talk Superstation.
asked, and I got answers, asking folks what it is that they did for, as we used to say, yesterday was a 3-alarm Kadu emergency. It got to be rainy, and you could tell by watching the rain early in the morning, the way it was coming down with the wind and all of that. This is not going away anytime soon. I didn't even bother looking at radar. I didn't bother looking at the satellite. I got one of those old Pacific hands thing in my head where today the rule, if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes, it'll change. Today, that's not going to be the case. It stayed the same, soggy, snotty, all day yesterday, and I knew that I had the fixins. Because when I was at Payless last week, I actually got the fixins for Tenactec. So I knew I was prepared to make that kind of soup for me yesterday, and I did. But asking on Facebook Live, what did you make yesterday? What kind of soup did you make? And sure enough, there's a bunch of people that went out and sorted, found a way to get some beef shank hot enough to eat, and with lots of veggies in it. And that's perfect, right? You just take every vegetable that you've got in the refrigerator that you know you're not going to be able to eat or make something with, just throw that in the pot and add that to the stock, and that's how you make it good. Sabine says I could call it almost Tenactec because I didn't have little cherry tomatoes in there. Dave Torrey says that Diane made chamorro corn soup yesterday. See, that's why she's a keeper. Sabine says ham hocks and beans would be good. Keenan McCausland says work out Sinigang beef ribs with pak choy for rainy days. They're having a rainy day out in Vancouver as well, up in Washington. Totally different weather system, but it's raining up and down in Washington State these days. And so, yeah, you better believe they've got some good cutter making going on up there. So if you wanted to share with us your recipe, Smug says Nanbo has a producer discount. I think anything of value can be insured over at Nanbo. They'll figure out a way to get a line together. They're 7:19 in the morning, and is it time to take a look at what happened over the markets? I have not reviewed this yet. I've looked at the oil numbers, and I'm really happy with where they're going. But let me get you to the absolute latest on what's going on in the American and international markets nearby. S&P 500 up by 14 points. They closed at 3,015. NASDAQ at 82.16. They picked up 46 points. Dow Jones Industrial Average is going to be starting the day tomorrow in the green, 96.77 up. That closed them on Friday at 27,233. The FTSE is up. The Nikkei is up 228 points. Nice. I got the Hang Seng Index at 27,352. They picked up 256 points. So serious increases there. Shanghai's not looking so bad either. Shanghai at 22 points in the green to close at 3,031. We'll take a look at oil, because I like to look at West Texas crude. It is the American benchmark. We buy oil for our power plants over a 10-day average, and let's see which direction that 10-day average is going to be moving. It was $55.12 on Friday, the last time Jerry Roberts and I looked at it, $55.12. The new number is $54.85, so moving in the right direction. Not a very big jump, only up by about 27 cents. But the big news here, and this put a big smile on my face this morning, $66.03. Now, that's where Tapas was on Friday morning. This morning, Tapas is closing at $63.29. That's off by almost $3. $2. Almost, yeah, about $2.74, $2.75 worth of a difference between where it was on Friday and where it is today. Now, I know of at least one outfit that had a really, really good weekend because they had that craft beer deal with the Whiskey Fest that was going on over at the Sheraton. Now it's 76 Circle K party.
So you're saying...
I'm saying,
that they would...
Everybody had a really good time.
And because of that...
You want ball toms. Keep the good times rolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just say it. Because of that, what?
Mike Hernandez needs to go out there and tickle the numbers on the screens at the 76 Circle K.
Which would cause the other ones to do the same.
Immediately, if not sooner. Because that's the way it is around here. 7:21 in the morning. And there's the delighted voice of Jerry Roberts in the studio. How'd you do yesterday? What kind of soup did you make?
Did not have soup yet. What did I have?
We have a disappointed crowd now. This is great. All right, good.
I'm sorry.
All right, Maria Pangolin still won't tell me what happened with J.P. Manuel's complaint against Mike St. Nicholas. Just by willing it into existence, I still don't have lower numbers on the gas pumps. Oh, we'll see what... Carolina ended up losing to Tampa Bay over the weekend. What the heck? Well, we'll go through some of the sports numbers a little bit later on. Anyway, Jerry Roberts in the studio perusing all of the printed material. Did you find anything in there that you thought was interesting?
Let me see. Trump's going to do a middle-class tax cut.
Exactly.
Next year.
No, that was
so he says.
There are 4 newspapers in front of Jerry Roberts, and he was thumbing through them real quick, and he hit exactly the same most interesting story.
But there's another one.
Which is?
Elizabeth Warren wants to bail out Social Security on the backs of the well-to-do people by adding a 14.8% tax to every dollar over $250,000 in salary or $400,000 in combined income for a family.
I think the basis of that thinking is backwards. If wait a second. This is not an entitlement. You and I have been putting money into Social Security since the day I started working. And so we wouldn't need to bail out Social Security if Congress hadn't borrowed the money all those times.
Borrowed the money?
Yeah.
How about stole the money?
Or stole the money, whichever way you want to say it. Yeah,
Politicians don't borrow, they steal.
I generally reserve the word stealing for our legislature, our legislative body, not necessarily Congress, because, it's Congress. It's
Washington.
The constitutional right to do it, right?
Washington, there's a logo on Washington, D.C. as you enter the city. It's a politician with their hand in your pocket.
Mm-hmm. Don't disagree. And as I said, that was the most interesting story. And unfortunately, it's not closer to page 1 in the Guam Daily Post. And it needs to be, because the warning needs to go out to members of the 35th Guam legislature and this administrative offices run by Lou and Josh, that Trump is even talking about it. This will go over the same way minimum wages are going to go over. I suppose there's going to be, as there was last time, there'll be some kabuki in Washington. The Democrats are going to pretend that they hate the idea and we couldn't possibly do something like that. But in the end, they'll begrudgingly capitulate the desires of the orange-haired one, and we will get this middle-class tax break.
Yeah, but it all depends on where they take it from. Because, you can give the cut, but, you have to be able to handle it.
I don't know. Does pay-go apply to the president as well? Huh? Does pay-go apply to the president? I'm just saying that this is going to happen, and there will be another impact on Guam.
Sure it will.
And so this is the second warning shot that's been fired by Trump. There was another one last week before. But here's the deal, guys. They're not going to pay attention to this, and the only solution that the legislature is going to have when it finally comes true is another tax hike.
6% now for the BPT.
We've got to go to 6. My God, otherwise payless paydays and babies born naked. So this is they need to start thinking seriously about this, and what the impact of these numbers could be. And they'll say, well, we don't know what the numbers are. So you passed the whole health insurance bill without knowing what the numbers were on that. Yep. Don't know what the impact was on the increase in the last BPT. So take a chance on this one and figure out what it is that you've got to do to reorganize the government of Guam so that it can live inside the existing revenue and what we may lose as a result of these middle-class cuts.
Hard to argue with that logic. Hard to argue with that.
They're going to wait until the last minute. They'll wait until Trump actually does it and it goes out before they take any kind of action. I'm just saying they need to start thinking about it now. The warning. I wish I knew which page it was. I'd just say, there's your warning. There's your sign. Start working on it now so it doesn't impact the taxpayers anymore. 7:25 in the morning. Always like it when Jerry and I are on the same page here. And time now to turn the page on the Extra Point, being brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
Investor and deal maker T. Boone Pickens died a few days ago at the age of 91. He was certainly controversial. We'll look at some of what he did and some of what he said. It's next on the Extra Point.
When's the last time you looked at your homeowner's insurance?
We buy a homeowner's policy and never give it another thought until something happens. Life brings changes, and our coverage needs can change. The smart thing to do is get the answers and level up our insurance to make sure we're totally protected.
That's the Insurance Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today by calling Guahan Insurance Services at 475-1162 or visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center in Tamuning.
Make no mistake, T. Boone Pickens was no saint. He had a long list of critics. You don't know the name? Google it. Pickens was called a corporate raider in the 1980s. He would buy a stake in a large oil company and then announce he could run it better than the current management, which spurred a fight with them to gain the confidence and support of shareholders. Invariably, these companies pursued mergers with other firms to defeat Pickens' takeover bid. However, this forced the stock prices higher, and Pickens sold his shares at a huge profit. It's estimated he turned almost $1 billion in profit that way. Time magazine once described Pickens this way. To many, he is a real-life J.R. Ewing, the ruthless but fascinating wheeler-dealer whom viewers of the TV show Dallas love to hate and sometimes secretly admired. To his victims, mostly entrenched corporate executives, he is a dangerous upstart, a sneaky poker player, a veritable rattlesnake in the woodpile. To his fans, however, he is a modern David, a champion of the little guy who takes on the Goliaths of the big oil industry and more often than not gives them a costly whooping. Pickens said shareholders weren't getting the best bang for their buck because oil executives were more interested about their pay, perks, power, and prestige rather than profits for shareholders. Now, this caught my attention. In 2006, Pickens donated $11 million to the University of Texas Center for Brain Health. They offered to scan his brain, and what they discovered was startling. Pickens' brain registered about 30 years younger than his physical age. Observers said his brain activated in places that young brains activate. At age 89, he would rise at 6 a.m. to work out with his personal trainer. That included a mile on the treadmill, 50 sit-ups, and 2 sets of 20 squats while wearing a 60-pound weight vest. Is keeping the body young the way to keeping the brain young? Never at a loss for words, here are a few quotes that Pickens left us. A fool with a plan can beat a genius with no plan. Have a plan and work it. Keep focused. When you're hunting elephants, don't get distracted chasing rabbits. Focus. Be willing to make decisions. That's the most important quality in a good leader. You can't be a leader if you shy away from making decisions. I'm a Republican. I don't want to go to heaven and have to face my family up there and tell them I voted for a Democrat. There are some critics who suggested he'd never have to worry about it. Keep things informal. Talking is the natural way to do business. Talk generates ideas. Great things come from luncheon meetings, which consist of a sandwich, a cup of soup, and a good idea or two. And I concur with that, absolutely. Face-to-face is always the best. A little bit from the life and words of T. Boone Pickens. And that's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Inspiring. Do some Google. I'm very, very interested in what they were talking, that brain scan that he was talking about, and because I know when I was young, I didn't energize those parts. So I'm hoping as I get older and working out a little bit more that it triggers those places. So I will always think at least with the capabilities of a younger person.
There was more to when I was researching on him. He would routinely get together with younger people.
Yeah.
And listen to their ideas and interface with them. And his opinion was, why do I want to hang around a bunch of guys that play golf and hang around the house all day long, and don't do anything? Or do I want to go and deal with younger folks that are doing things, they're active, they have new ideas? And he says that kept him young.
Good. So start looking around. If you're one of those guys and stuck in some kind of rut in your business life, your personal life, or whatever, or maybe because you're stuck in a rut, jump out of it and go find someplace. Friday night, I got to give props to Maureen and her team at Guam Business News, etc. They had a get-together for this month's Glimpses, 40 people under 40. That are making a difference. And I'd love to read all 40 of the names, but pick up a copy of the magazine. Somebody that you know, somebody's kid that you know is in there. One of your business people's kids is in there, and they have been highlighted by members of their own community for being among the top 40 the people in business that are under 40 and doing it right. And I had a great time hanging out with these younger people on Friday night because they were interactive. They were asking me different things about different ways that I do my business. Maybe different things that we're going to be doing socially and digitally in the media as that progresses. And I was interested to hear how they were using the products that we've got here at the radio station. So it was a nice get-together, great opportunity to do it. I'm sure there'll be more things like that. And if you are in business, like I said, stuck in a rut, go hang out with the Rotaract guys, go hang out with the Guam Young Professionals. And if you want details on that, call everybody over at the Guam Chamber of Commerce. They'll tell you when the next set of meetings are. 7:30, and the young guys like it when the old farts experts are in there too. They're down for that because there's still great advice that we can give them about moving forward and the way we see the world in business. It's 7:32 in the morning. That's Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point, and about time for 7:30 News, brought to you by my pal Al Yanger and his team over at GPSI. They're a registered contractor for the federal government. You're wondering, well, how's that going to help me? I don't know. Go find Al. Call him up, 477-3058. News also brought to you by Lolita Kamet at Remax Diamond Realty. Are you starting to see more of these apartment buildings go up? I'd walked from Santa Fe, where I stayed on Saturday night, over to the Sheraton in the 5 minutes that it wasn't raining over the weekend. And it was a nice walk, and passed by in that in-between area between the Payless and the Sheraton complex itself. There's a big apartment building going up there. I don't know if that's for low income, but if you'd like to know about renting that or maybe taking your property and getting it rented out, check out Auntie Loli. Her number is 688-6743. 688-6743. Time right now to find out what's happening with the news. Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: the attorney for Harvey Arun Kansao wants a Superior Court judge to dismiss the murder charges against his client. Kansao is one of the men charged in connection with the beating death of Sonter Sukin in Anigua in June of this year. Following that attack, Kansao was initially charged with misdemeanor assault. The victim, Sukin, however, subsequently died several days after he was brutally beaten. It wasn't until after the victim died that Kansao, along with co-defendant J.K. Sukion, were charged with murder. Kansao's defense attorney, Randy Cunliffe, claims the murder charge against his client amounts to double jeopardy. Sukion has pleaded not guilty to the charges. The National Weather Service continues to monitor what is now Tropical Storm Pipa, formerly Tropical Depression 17W. As early as this morning, Pipa was located about 385 miles northeast of Guam, with maximum sustained winds of 40 miles an hour, making it a minimum tropical storm. No further intensification is expected. It poses no danger to Guam or the Marianas, according to the Weather Service. Following 8 inches of rain since Saturday night, Guam can expect occasional rain throughout the morning hours today, then mostly cloudy and scattered showers this afternoon. The flash flood watch has now been canceled for Guam and the rest of the Marianas. However, a high surf advisory remains in effect for the Marianas, along with a small craft advisory also in effect for the islands. The Department of Administration is mailing out 487 tax refund checks today, amounting to about $1.3 million. The checks, covering error-free tax returns filed as of February 21st. As always, residents who have unpaid bills at GMH or fines owed to the judiciary will have their refund checks garnished. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
7:35 in the morning, and getting word. Are we still in blink mode outside? Did you have a chance to take a look at that? The light in front of DPW is in blink mode this morning, so that might make things a little bit less fun driving through here. Also got word that the light over at Happy Mart is in blink mode as well, and it's usually unpleasant over at that intersection around drive time. Don't know if it's making that much of a difference right now. I'll tell you where it is in a second. It's 7:35, and that's the time for iConnect. Call iConnect and ask them how they can save you all kinds of dough on mobile and internet plans.
Lolita Kamet from Remax Diamond Realty, a friendly, hardworking, and passionate Remax professional who is committed to helping you make a difference in your life and helping you achieve the American dream of home ownership. She also specializes in commercial leasing, land sales, local residential sales leasing, military, and corporate relocation. So for all your real estate needs, call Lolita Kamet from Remax Diamond Realty at 688-6743. That's 688-6743.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Studio time 7:36, and we'll call that time to what am I supposed to be doing? Telling everybody about going to eat. Oh God, buttermilk chicken over at IHOP. They get this breast of chicken, been marinating in the buttermilk, and they take it out when it's just right after the buttermilk has had all the great chemical reactions that it's going to have with the proteins in the meat, and then they fry it up, and they've got a special frying thing that they put in there, special spices on the deal, and then after that they serve that up with you can get that on pancakes, and you can get it in a big combo meal, or you can get it with you got to try it with what do they call it, not pancakes, what's the other one, French toast. No, not French toast. Waffles. So try it with the waffles, ladies and gentlemen. It is buttermilk chicken waiting for you at IHOP.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
Yeah, I see it. There's ugly traffic out there. As I said, we've got lousy traffic at 8, 10, and 16. Watch for blink mode there. We are still in blink mode in front of DPW, which is weird because the guy in charge of the lights probably should have been in the office about 10 or 15 minutes ago. All right, finish your coffee and then go out there and reset the light. Ugly traffic out on Route 15. I told you this was going to be a problem. Right after you get through the nightmare that is 10 and 15, that intersection with the Suki lights, as soon as you get even that much closer to Wendy's, as soon as you get past that, you're going to see traffic start to slow down. And in some cases, I think I've got traffic that looks like it is stopped between Old Price Road area and about where Untalon Middle School is. There were some problems with flooding in the roadway there yesterday, and I think that continues to be a lingering problem. From about the post office into the Happy Mart intersection, expect some delays through there. You're going, well, what about Ipao to Waisengsong, Ray? It's always bad at this time there. Do I need to? I'll understate it. It's ugly from Ipao down to Waisengsong. You'll also see some unpleasantness coming off of Route 3 on the Marine Corps Drive. Once you're on Marine Corps Drive, expect delays all the way through Upper Tumon. In fact, it doesn't start to clean up until after you get past Kmart. Moving through the rest of Tamuning, expect some delays at the usual spots, especially around the schools. Route 8 has got a couple of places. Obviously, one of them is going to be the intersection, McMobile intersection, and then the one that right past that as it takes you up on Teedson in front of Cars Plus. Anticipate some delays through there as well. Even Roy T. Demion is getting kind of ugly. Maybe just lingering effects of the wet roads yesterday, or everybody's still a little bit drunk from eating too much kadu yesterday. 7:39, that's right now traffic on The Point.
Wow, nice smile. So perfect and all.
Thanks. I owe it all to Dr. Robert Yang and his smile team. They do wonders for a healthy, happy mouth.
Got teeth? Don't wait until they hurt. Schedule your routine checkup and cleaning with Dr. Yang and his smile team. Suite 119 in the East West Business Center, Upper Tumon. Call 647-8702 or 3.
The best thing that happened to teeth since toothpaste.
Dr. Yang and his smile team.
They make smiles happen.
That's nice. Sandy out in San Diego is sending sunshine. Appreciate that. We're going to get our fair share of sunshine today. Got some overcast skies are going to stay with us, but things ought to simmer down by about nighttime tonight. Ken LG's online and says the total absence of any coverage on the impact of the Free Guam Conference shows that nothing was accomplished beyond the spending of $300,000 before the grant expired. I thought that was the be-all, end-all. I thought that's what they were going for, wasn't it? That was the goal, right? I mean, it's not just get a whole bunch of people. They brought in, and I'm not sure what the correct title is. I've seen him referred to as the Lieutenant Governor of Puerto Rico. They brought him out, and they found Leland Bettis somewhere and brought him back for the event. And everybody get together, and I'm sure there was soaring conversation and great speeches about self-determination and all of that kind of thing. And yes, we're in the driver's seat, and screw Dave Davis and all of that stuff. But did we come back with any receivables? Is there any? I mean, even Uncle Robert only showed up to the second day. I mean, he was still, I think, recovering from the walking around that he did with everybody the week prior. on the Labor Day holiday. But sure enough, they get this thing together and they have this conference. And you're right, Ken. But and I didn't pay much attention to it either, other than noting that it was going to be happening and that there were a couple of high-level dignitaries that were going to be in the presence of our greatness around here. So yeah, $300,000 before the grant expired. Mission accomplished. What next? I'm telling you guys, just put it on the ballot. Just stick it on the ballot. What do we need to do any of the other stuff for? And certainly we ought to be able to come out with something that is on the ballot that everybody will get a chance to vote on. And even the one that we were going to send to Washington was going to be non-binding anyway. We're just going to here's what the people of Guam have got to say. So let's do another one and stick it on the ballot. And by then, maybe Maria Pangilinan will have those new high-tech machines that will be able to take a page, not only scan the page. I thought this was interesting. You can scan the page, and then it will count the votes, who you voted for, what you voted on, and then it will snap a picture. And you might be going, well, what's the point of having the picture? And honestly, they say it'll make the counts go faster if we have to do a hand count in anything. You just kind of rerun it through the scanning machine and tell it what to look for, and you ought to be able to get some kind of response. I mean, the guys that know about images and recognition, OCR, can tell you relatively how relatively easy that is to work with. I mean, Smug ought to be able to write the code for that in about 20 minutes. I don't know why we don't buy stuff from him. But my point is, beyond that, I'm going, well, what else is this going to be good for? What else will it be good for? I've got a cunning plan. Don't I always have a cunning plan? This, in my mind, would be a great opportunity for us to, if you will, get the sentiments of the voting public. Wouldn't it be great if, because everybody says, that's how it works in this representative democracy that we have, this republic. You go out there and you go ahead and vote, and that's how we send messages to the politicians on what it is that we like, what it is that we don't like. But just say this senator so and so, I think he sucks, so I'm not voting for him. That's the kind of veiled messages that we can send. But what if there was a way that you could send an actual message to the government? So we've got the ballot. And here's the ballot, and there's Kevin Kerrigan and Republican, Ray Gibson, Democrat, and you can vote for whoever you want to. And then at the bottom, like they have in restaurants, like a comment card. Just a little thing, you write your commentary on what you'd like to see from the government, where you think the government might suck, what we ought to be able to do better, and actually send a message to the people that you are voting for, that you are actually supporting, on things that you'd like to see.
That's what we have social media for.
Well, social media, yeah, we absolutely got that. And then to see if there's if they're not shy about it, take the actual comments that we get on these ballots that have been snapped into now a digital form, and release them. So that we can see the actual sentiments of the people. Put them out online and let people thumb through it, and let them do their own little hand count on where they were right on candidates, where they might have been on issues. I think that would be fun to do, because there will be a permanent record. I may do it anyway. I may encourage people to do it anyway, because they're going to be snapping pictures. Somebody has to review all of that stuff. So it'd be cool if you got a comment that you want to make about what you'd like to see in the government, what your priorities are. Just write it down on the ballot in a makeshift kind of commentary section, and let's see what happens. Let's see if anybody starts paying attention. They've got to look at them anyway, because they got to go through and see, who got write-ins and stuff like that. So take a look at it. What are you looking for in your phone? I can hear you breathe. I normally can't.
I'm trying to send you something, a robbery that occurred over the weekend to a person we both know.
I have an alibi. I've got an alibi. So it certainly wasn't me. Ken got burglarized, robbed?
Ed Conception, remember?
Econ, yeah. This is one of the best locksmiths on Guam.
And his store got broken into over the weekend. I'm going to send you a video here.
Well, that's then he cannot be Lucky Locksmith anymore if he got broken into. If the locksmith place got broken into. 888-8255-888-TALK. It's the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3. The Point. Got commentaries that you want to make. He's right. There's always going to be social media, and this is a great way to do that. James Howard online talking about what it is that you do when it starts raining. I'm talking about making kadu, and he said smoke weed. Dave Evans is there. Eric Rosario. Dave, oh my God. So I told you I stayed over at Santa Fe, right? This is me being a responsible partier because I knew it was going to be crazy good times over at the Sheraton for the craft beer deal, and I got the last hotel room on Guam. There's a Korean holiday that was going on over the weekend, and virtually every hotel room had been occupied. And like I said, I got the last one, number 217 over at Santa Fe, and as I said, it started raining early yesterday morning, and I needed to get to the car, and I thought, well, if I go through the front of the hotel, I might get soaking wet by the time I get to the car. So I went through the backside of the hotel and got soaking wet getting to the car. It didn't make any difference over by where Dave plays on some of those nights that they've got down there. But absolutely rainy. The parking lot down there was a foot of water between me and the car. Chris DeCaza Geyser is online. I see, what's there, Ken LG. No one could hear the speeches online, as he says. He was talking about the deal that they had over the last Friday. Or Thursday, or whatever the days it were for the free whatever conference. No measurement. What's it? Ken, just call me and tell me what it is that you're trying to say so I don't have to sort it all out on the radio. 747. Also, last week, I thought this was going to be interesting, was a get-together of the Hagåtña Restoration Redevelopment Authority. Did I get the name right, Lacia?
Hafa-day, good morning.
Hafa-day. It's a HRRA, Hagåtña Redevelopment and Reorganization.
Hagåtña Restoration and Redevelopment Authority.
I'll get it right when you get a budget. How's that?
We got a budget.
It's just not what you were looking for. What is that? What kind of short-change budget is it? So that covers your salary and your rent. What else?
It covers our office. We'll be able to hire some staff. The shortcomings were for contractual items that we were going to have to go out and look for grants for, actually. So we're actually good. We're good.
Okay.
Also, we're getting income from the real estate improvements, for tax improvements in Hagåtña, which we're supposed to get by law. So we're working closely with Daphne Shimizu and the Department of Revenue and Tax to implement that part of the law.
Huh. You got me thinking about how many places there are in the downtown, in the Hagåtña proper area that are worth more than $1 million.
Well, we're looking at, between $100,000 and $200,000 we should be getting from that.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't sound like a huge amount, but I mean, it's there, and that's stuff that you can do stuff with. Now, you said that there's some grant opportunities. I imagine there might be some decent grant opportunities with the federal government, but what about the government of Spain? Anybody talking to those guys about sending some money over, by way of recompenses for the colonization and all that?
One of our board members, Dr. Carlos Madrid, is actually very close ties to Spain, and he has had discussions with the government to perhaps donate some items to our cause.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely something that we're going to look into.
What else can we look forward? I mean, you guys have gone over a couple of things. I'm delighted that you're still looking at a Riverwalk opportunity with the Hagåtña River. As small as it is, what can be done with it. So you're going to take it. You're going to go and do some kind of an impact study, huh?
Yeah. Right now, Ray, our immediate priority is passing the master plan, the land use policy plan. And our goal is by the end of the year to submit that to the governor for her review, and then she will take her time to go through it and then submit it to the legislature. So, we're not really focusing on the projects right now.
I see.
And the projects are not part of the land use plan. So technically, it's only on the documents and the policy that we're focusing on, because that needs to be passed by the legislature. And the projects themselves, the priority for each one is going to change with every administration. So Governor Liu, her priority is centralizing the government. So those couple of projects have been moved to the top.
Right.
And that's something that we're going to try to seek grants for.
Okay, so is it too early to start talking about what those centralization projects are? We've toyed with the idea a couple of times on the radio. I mean, and there is still the foundation on what is the grounds of the old administration building. Is that one of the places that might be considered to centralize portions of the government?
We're looking at in that area, the old DOA building, where the old GPD building is in Higatnia. And we're also looking at the new land resources building, which is between Hulali and Joe's Pizza.
You know what? I still haven't been there yet. Speaking of pizza places in Naganya.
Oh, it's a great pizza.
Yeah, I know. That's the idea: is go there, get a pizza, or go to Tommy's, get a pizza, and then go drink it. Go drink it. Go take it and go drink over at the Carabao, because they haven't opened up their kitchen yet. But they're as you've noticed, again is evolving, and it is now becoming a little bit more of a destination even after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. There's so many different restaurants and bars that are opening up down there. It feels like there's almost a gentrification going on, except it ain't being done on purpose.
Right. Have you heard that CPK is taking over Proa?
I heard. I was at Proa on the last day that they were serving publicly. So yeah, I'm familiar with that. Crab Daddy's opening up. There's Carabao down there.
Pika's, I heard, is opening a new location downtown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So as I say, it's evolving there and actually turning into almost kind of a Tony downtown after 5 area to go to. And I'm wondering, do your plans for redevelopment and restoration of Agania, how will that fold in? Because I got a feeling that more people are going to say, you know what, I think I want to live down here again. And not a whole lot of people live in the downtown Agania area, so it hasn't really been any kind of thinking priority for anybody. But as more and more businesses go down there, as there's more and more to do you suppose that we need to make a nod towards the more construction, more living space down there? Yeah, more residential.
That's part of the law, is that we work to develop more affordable housing in Higatnia and develop economic opportunities for new businesses to develop. Mm-hmm. Which is why it's very important that we do pass this master plan before too much development has happened, because the policies will regulate height restrictions on buildings. It'll help promote and preserve our history through design guidelines. So yeah, we don't want it to turn into some mishmash. There's a beautiful structure behind the master plan. If you look at any capital city, you'll see the organization, in the center is the government, and then as it moves away from there, there's more residential and more space. Mm-hmm. And if you look at any coastal city, there are things that are incorporated into them, like boardwalks and ship terminals and businesses that kind of focus on the water. So that's something that we're hoping will follow suit.
Yeah, well, I was kind of hoping that there'd be a conversation about putting a dock large enough to take a big cruise ship to dock out there. I suppose that would require some kind of dredging, and it looks like Senator Dr. Kelly Marsh / parentheses Titano has put in a piece of legislation that would prevent something like that from happening. She wants something a little bit more environmentally friendly and, quote, sustainable.
Well, all the projects are part of the comprehensive economic development strategy, which is led by GIDA. And every administration is going to have to take a look at which project is their priority. Mm-hmm. So, they're all proposed projects, nothing set in stone. There was a strategy and a methodology about how the projects were proposed. Like I said, if you look at any coastal city, San Diego, San Francisco, there are harbors, there are cruise ships. So naturally, these were the types of things that were discussed and brought up for these type of projects.
Yeah, well, you tell me that it might look something like San Diego. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. They've got a great beach walk area, river walks, or not river walks that they've got down there, and it's nice that you can go from the stadium to the gas lamp and then down the street over to where all of the maritime museums and maritime attractions are. So I think something along those lines would be good. And a note from Heidi Ballendorf, who says, did you know that Agana is the oldest city in the Pacific? Older even than Sydney. And that's something that we ought to find a way to promote.
Absolutely. It was one of the, when it was first discovered, it was compared to some of the cities in Europe. And if you look at old pictures, you'll see that there's thousands of residences. And that's the vision, is to bring back that center. And, I was at a Thursday at UOG with a bunch of cultural women. It was I can't remember the name of the conference, but Melanie Trost spoke, and then they all spoke at the decolonization conference the next day. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about, decolonization itself. And Agana was completely destroyed during the Second World War, 75 years ago.
Yeah.
And since then, we have not had a center where we can come together, where we can promote our history, where we can, convene and speak. And I think the best example was during FestPac, when you saw all the people in Agana and the energy and, all the people coming together to promote our island and our culture. That's something that we can strive towards. That's part of the goal, is to recreate that and bring all that energy back so that we have a true capital.
Gigantic Sagandinanya.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Something along those lines, and as you point out, someplace where we can all together. I'd like to see a combination of green space / amphitheaters, that kind of thing, so that it's multi-use, but would provide for something along the lines that you were talking about. Getting back to just real quick on projects and development, how much of that is going to rely on what we can and can't do because of the quote flood zone that is the downtown Agana area?
Well, that's what the study is going to address. How do we mitigate the flood? And once the study is done, that the Army Corps of Engineers is coming in, I believe, and we'll know what the options are for mitigating the flood, whether to dredge the river, or to how to restructure it, widen it, whatever it needs to take. But we won't know until that study's done.
I'm jealous of you because that's a fun conversation to be in the middle of. I got to run because I got to break off from this conversation. I got news coming up.
All right, thanks, Ray.
Okay, so I'll see you on the trail. Lasha Casil from the HRRA with me, and a little bit of a debrief on what they did last week. 888-8255 is the telephone number. The radio station is KUSG Agana News. And then we're going to pretend to talk about sports. That's all ahead right here. This is The Point.
GM made an offer the union refused. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. United Auto Workers have not walked off the job in 12 years, but they could tonight over job security, benefits, and General Motors' use of temp employees after their contract expired just before midnight last night.
Talks reached a stalemate, and UAW announced 49,000 of its workers at U.S. plants will go on strike just before midnight tonight, affecting GM plants in Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky, New York, Texas, and elsewhere.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich. The Teamsters Union president says his members will honor any strike and will not transport any GM vehicles. The automaker reportedly offered to keep open 2 plants slated to close. That was not enough to close the deal, and talks have broken down. Iran says it is ready for a full-fledged war, dismissing claims by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo that it was behind Saturday's drone attacks on 2 Saudi oil facilities, knocking out more than half of that country's production and 5% of the global supply. Industry analyst Trilby Lundberg says because of the strikes,
we could see a price hike sometime very soon of anywhere between a nickel to 25 cents per gallon.
Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen claimed responsibility, but a U.S. official says what was launched did not come from the south, but the northwest, Iran's direction. Fox's Gernal Scott.
On Fox News Sunday, counselor to the president Kellyanne Conway says she won't get ahead of the White House, but she believes all options are being considered in showing the U.S. won't stand for this kind of insurgence.
Particularly when it comes to retaliating against malign behavior and protecting American interests and Americans and our American economy.
America's listening to Fox News.
30 years ago, the very first Subway restaurant opened in Guam. Now, 15 restaurants later, Subway Restaurants is celebrating this milestone with a buy one, get one free offer every weekend, starting September 14th through October 12th. Come celebrate 30 years. Enjoy your favorite sandwich, salad, or wrap, all made with freshly sliced veggies and bread baked in every store. Take advantage of this buy one, get one deal. It's Subway Restaurants' way of saying thank you, Guam, for 30 wonderful years. Subway, make it what you want.
Hulu is all your TV in one place, plus more. Watch thousands of hit shows, movies, and award-winning Hulu originals for only $5.99 per month. It's TV without the cable contract and the freedom of on-demand streaming. Get current network shows from ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox, and binge watch every season of your favorite cable shows. Premium Hulu viewing is brought to you by Proline Automotive and AB Sports, Guam's store for Nike. To advertise on Hulu, call Choice Digital at 989-0042.
Another allegation of sexual misconduct against now Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh goes back to when he was an undergrad at Yale. The New York Times reports a new book claims Kavanaugh exposed himself at a party. The rest involves a female classmate. President Trump responding on Twitter.
Talks reached a stalemate and UAW announced.
He said Brett Kavanaugh should start suing people for libel, or the Justice Department should come to his rescue. The lies being told about him are unbelievable. False accusations without recrimination. When does it stop? They're trying to influence his opinions. Can't let that happen.
Fox's Kevin Corke, a Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee who is running for president, had a different response.
Kamala Harris, senator from California, writing this: I sat through those confirmation hearings. Brett Kavanaugh lied to the U.S. Senate and, most importantly, to the American people. He was put on the court through a sham process, and his place on the court is an insult to the pursuit of truth and justice. He must be impeached.
Did it happen? The White House refusing to comment. Neither would the parents or close friends of Otto Warmbier, but they had been invited to dine with President Trump at the White House last night. Warmbier, the 22-year-old University of Virginia student who died days after being released after 17 months of captivity in North Korea.
North Korea imprisoned Warmbier after accusing and convicting him of stealing a propaganda poster. He was released in 2017 back to the United States, but in a vegetative state. He died shortly after returning home. Otto's parents, Cindy and Fred, have blamed North Korea and its leader, Kim Jong-un, for their son's death.
Fox's Mark Meredith. Fred and Cindy Warmbier say their son was tortured in North Korea. They were angered when President Trump said he took Kim Jong-un at his word. He knew nothing about it. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News.
I'm a working mom and could really use more hours in my day. Thankfully, my non-electric Kinetico water treatment system has simplified my life. It's easier to clean my home with Kinetico conditioned water. No more scrubbing tubs or wiping water spots. Cleaners work better and last longer. And all the Kinetico drinking water we want is right here. No more lugging home bottled water. All this, and I'm saving money too, thanks to Kinetico.
American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water.
IHOP now has buttermilk crispy chicken made with all-natural chicken breast and a signature blend of seasonings. Why am I running? Because IHOP now has buttermilk crispy chicken made with all-natural chicken breast and a signature blend of seasonings. Whoa! We're talking chicken sandwiches, chicken and waffles, even chicken and pancakes. But move it, Gray Van! IHOP has crispy chicken!
Run in to try IHOP's new Buttermilk Crispy Chicken Strips and Pancakes for just $6.99. For a limited time, price and participating restaurants may vary.
Proline Automotive has everything to customize your whip. From custom wheels to Nankang tires or just hubcaps, they have it. Feel better that it's protected with a dash cover, car cover, seat covers, or floor mats. Visit Proline Automotive, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. OxyContin maker Purdue Pharma has reportedly reached a tentative $12 billion settlement agreement with some plaintiffs, including Guam, over the company's alleged role in fueling the U.S. opioid crisis. According to the Reuters news agency, which cited people familiar with the case, lawyers representing more than 2,000 jurisdictions who sued Purdue are weighing a settlement offer now from the company's owners, the Sackler family. In August, Guam joined the lawsuit, which alleges that Purdue Pharma and its related businesses designed, financed, and waged a marketing campaign to mislead patients into believing their opioid drugs were safe to treat pain on a long-term basis. Attorney General Levin Camacho declined to comment on the report of the tentative agreement, saying that the negotiations are still ongoing at this point. Classes are canceled today at Agata Johnson Middle School and Orda Chalanpago Elementary School to allow a local contractor to, again for the second time, spray the school grounds and interior of the schools with an insecticide to get rid of mosquitoes. The spraying of schools started yesterday and will resume again today about 3:30 this afternoon, according to a release from the Office of Civil Defense. It's part of an effort launched by Public Health to prevent the spread of dengue fever on island. Last Wednesday, Public Health confirmed the first locally acquired case of dengue fever. The infected person had no recent history of travel outside of Guam. The confirmed case on island follows an outbreak of the virus currently affecting Yap, Palau, the Marshall Islands, and the Philippines. Residents in a 200-meter radius of the confirmed case will also be asked to have their homes sprayed both inside and outside with insecticide to control adult mosquitoes. Public Health has identified 82 homes that will be affected. Agata Johnson and Orda Chalanpago are being closed today only as a precaution. A statement from Guam DOE advises that classes at all other Guam public schools will not be affected. They will be open and operate on their normal schedules today. We'll have more news after this.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
GRMC's Neuroscience and Neurology Department treats a wide spectrum of disorders associated with the nervous system, spine, and brain. Some of the more common disorders include seizures, epilepsy, dementia, sleep disorders, migraine, and stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC's neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and the finest neurological doctors. To make an appointment, contact GRMC Specialty Clinics at 645-5500.
10 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. The federal government has been ordered to pay $11.5 million in a medical negligence lawsuit filed by the parents of a baby boy born at Naval Hospital Guam in 2014. The lawsuit alleges that members of the medical team at Naval Hospital Guam failed to properly and timely resuscitate the baby at birth and failed to recognize obvious signs of distress due to lack of blood flow and oxygen. Deidre and Daniel Bebo were stationed on Guam in 2014 but now reside in Virginia. They filed a lawsuit against the federal government stating their son suffered severe disabling and permanent brain damage as a result. December 2017, the Department of the Navy initially denied the claim, but on Friday, a federal court in Virginia approved the monetary award, which will be used to help the family care for their child. Guam police are investigating a burglary at a locksmith on Route 8 in Barragata yesterday. The Lucky Locksmith store was burglarized early Sunday morning. Among the items stolen include a semi-automatic pick gun tool, a mini AutoPro pad programmer, various auto programmers, along with a smart TV. Store owner Ed Conception advises that the items stolen can be used to do worse damage in the wrong hands because they can be used to open just about any automobile. Body shop owners are advised to beware of anyone trying to sell the items. Authorities are asking anyone with information about the theft to contact Guam Police or call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at our weather.
I got 8:12 in the morning, and we'll take a look at the weather right now and find out what's happening out there. Let me just redo the radar here so we get the absolute latest screen on as we talk about it. The discussion is breezy with occasional rain this morning, then mostly cloudy, scattered showers, and some isolated thunderstorms this afternoon and tonight, decreasing steadily this evening to about 10 miles an hour after midnight. That's where we're going to watch the winds go. Highs 85 degrees and overnight lows of about 77. I got in the car for a little bit yesterday afternoon. About 2 o'clock, I think. I was making my way back home from some work I was doing here, and it was 74.
Yeah,
according to the thermostat in the car, 74 degrees. So yeah, it was nice. Your air conditioner didn't hardly have to work at all yesterday, and that's nice as well. Weather radar is up. It's been refreshing. It looks like we're in a clear spot.
Yeah, I even saw some sunshine last hour, and that's what we're looking at. The clouds breaking a bit, but this is just kind of a rest period because if you look down to the southeast, you can see another pretty impressive band of rainfall that will probably move through as we go through the rest of the day. I say probably because things change, the dynamics change, and it looks like there's some serious consolidation going on with this system. If you look at the radar picture here, you see there was all these greens over it, and then all of a sudden, zip, it just kind of got sucked up to the north, and that's what happens when these systems consolidate. So we'll see if that band of rainfall holds together to move through this afternoon. If it does, it looks like we'll have about 2 or 3 hours of, well, pretty torrential rainfall like we had the last 36 hours, but it'll only last 2 or 3 hours, and then things should settle down for us. Looking at the satellite real quick here, the exposed center of Tropical Storm 17W, called Pepa, which is a Macauan word for a popular pet fish there, looks like it's starting to fill in now with some clouds, get some wraparound as it continues to pull on off to the west-northwest. It's going to continue moving off to the west-northwest and probably won't get much stronger than it is right now. So that's good news for anyone in the path of the storm. And for us, things will just slowly start to improve starting later on this afternoon and into tomorrow. Maybe another shot of rainfall. As I was looking at the satellite here, I don't see anything that could possibly be here by Wednesday, so I think probably we're looking at maybe a late Wednesday to Thursday time frame for any new sort of weak disturbances to pass on through, if they do indeed, and it still won't be anything like what we saw the last 36 hours or so.
I hope that's as bad as it gets this storm season. Maybe if we're finally to a point where September, it's going to be October here in a couple of weeks, and maybe we're past that time where we need to be concerned about heavier weather.
No, we're not. Actually, we have a peak in the Madden-Julian oscillation. It should swing through here towards the end of the month, about another 10 days to 2 weeks. We'll really see how that happens because when it times up with the end of September and the beginning of October, it usually fuels some pretty good storms. So we'll see how that goes. Again, there's no models or any sort of data that would indicate that is going to happen, but we're still too far out for that to have taken
Well, I would
place.
still then stock up. Hit the grocery stores and stock up on all of your good soup-making materials. Some shanks and some ground beef and some. You know what I was thinking about making was some chili. And I hesitate to talk about it because I got 2 Texas guys in the studio, and I will say, you know what? I like to start off with this kind of meat, and you'll both say, ew. What's the matter with you?
Ask
me
what I had for lunch yesterday.
Did you make chili?
Yeah.
Good man. All right, we'll talk about the recipe and plenty more. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird. The bird. That is the
Circle K has a 3-pound rotisserie chicken, now available for the introductory price of $9.99. It's the biggest, tastiest, and most affordable rotisserie chicken of its kind on island. Save even more by getting a family meal with 2 sides and a bottle of wine for only $25.99. The Circle K rotisserie chicken. Get yours today. Circle K. Take it easy.
Take it any way I can get it. Speaking of chili, got the guys some chili coming in later on this morning. They got a new location. They wanted to talk about that. And I'm just wondering, Marcus, what's for breakfast? Where was I? 8:16 on the program, and portions of the program brought to you by American President Lines APL as a global presence with a local home security title. Ron and Kim are itching to help you out. Go buy something, for heaven's sake, so they can do some title security and some title searches for you. Show you how good they are. My friends over at Take Care Insurance offering proven wellness and fitness programs to encourage folks like you and your family to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle. Preventative care and being active, eating right and relaxing and unwinding and being socially connected. That's why a lot of the stuff that they do over at Take Care, they like to do in groups, get you exercising with your friends, because that's number one, fun, and number two, everybody holds each other accountable. 8:16 in the morning, and you know where they got good chili? They also got good chili at Wendy's. Yes, it's a fact. You can go to Wendy's right now and say, I want chili. Now, I don't know if they'll give you chili, but the fact that they're going to start cooking. Did you know you can buy it in a big container?
No.
I always thought it was just like the little cup.
The small one, yeah.
Yeah. No, they're a big one.
Really?
Yes, they really do.
That's a whole meal.
So, no, well, you know what? I don't know that I'd make that the whole meal. I'd have the big cup there with that new bacon jalapeno cheeseburger.
Forgot that they have
got.
and they have those fries too.
Oh yeah. The bacon jalapeno fries. So get the whole thing out there and do it while you're still young. Because I tell you, when you get old, you got to be careful just how much hot stuff you're putting in your body, because it'll come and get you later on. So while you're young, take advantage of that and more at Wendy's.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-8255.
Back to work. Back to work, everybody. No more goofing off and lollygagging during the news section of the program. We've got some important things to take care of around here, and one of them is, because I'm trying to figure out what would be the appropriate punishment for Blake Watson. Just leading me, just knowing that I'm stupid when it comes to sports, and telling me that it was going to be Carolina, easy victory, Carolina over Tampa Bay.
I watched. I watched that for whenever that game was, Friday morning.
Flesh I need to take out of you.
I took it out of myself. I need to take it out of myself. Yeah, I don't know if anybody. And I text Mike when that happened, because Mike got it wrong too, and he made a good point. Because
everybody got it wrong.
Right. There was no. And the deal is, I'm sure you probably didn't watch that game, but that game ended on the final play. And it was basically Carolina was on touchdown. Carolina was on the 1-yard line, and they had to score to put themselves up on the scoreboard, and time would have run out with that play. They were stopped on the goal line because they didn't give the ball to Cam Newton. So there you go.
There's a picture of Cam Newton here, and this is the reason why that Tampa Bay kicked Panther butt over the weekend, because Cam
Newton looks like remember the Big Bad Wolf in Little Little
real?
Red?
That's a real thing.
Yeah,
he really wore that thing.
Yeah, he looks like the Big Bad Wolf when the Big Bad Wolf tried to be grandma in Little Red Riding Hood. Remember when the Big Bad Wolf dressed up as grandma? That's what he looks like.
Was he a cross-dresser?
No, that's what
he is now.
Well, it's just a scarf, though.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Last week he had a hat. My big hat that I have. So he had a hat like that, and then he had the scarf around his back of his head. So, yeah, that's just the bad thing is he lost, and then he had to go out there. And so he chose to wear that and talk to the media after losing the game.
What a thing. And if you didn't get it right, trust me, there is the what do they call it? Pick distribution on Yahoo, and it showed that 97% of all of the Yahoo pickers, and this is thousands and thousands of people across the country, around the world, 97% went with Carolina. They were just as surprised as you were when Tampa Bay came out for the W.
And like I said, it took him down to the final play. So I think we all had it right up until the the very last play of the game, and who knew?
And I'm hoping that happens with a couple of games that are playing right now. I picked New Orleans, but it looks like Rams are ahead as I'm looking at that now.
I was watching that across the hall. The reason is because, and actually I got an interesting fact about that game in a second, but Breeze went down. So they lost their quarterback to a thumb injury. This is like the first or second game he's ever missed, come out of. But remember how the refs kind of royally messed up the call last year and the Saints didn't get to go to the Super Bowl? So this morning, there was what looked like an incomplete pass. Goff's hand was hit as he was throwing. They ruled it an incomplete pass after the Saints had picked it up and ran it all the way back for a touchdown. Wow. Then they got the call wrong. It was an incomplete pass, but they blew it dead. So the Saints got the ball, but no touchdown, and they got the ball like on the Rams' 15-yard line. So they were deep within the territory, and it was all because the refs once again got the call wrong. If they wouldn't have blown the whistle and the Saints would have scored, they would be winning right now, and and they would have taken away a touchdown.
Well, obviously it's time for Sports with Blake. Thank you. All right, so we'll go real quick from the top. There aren't too many games that we were in disagreement over. Obviously, everybody's surprised by Carolina-Tampa, but I don't think any of us are surprised on the San Francisco-Cincinnati game. San Francisco won that
I
one.
actually changed mine at the last minute, and it was wrong. So, I mean, I got it wrong, but if you picked San Francisco, good for you.
I thought San Francisco would win, but I didn't see a blowout. So, yeah good for them.
They surprised me there. I thought their offense was
next
dismal.
game I was surprised.
Yep, this one got me too. I picked the Chargers.
Yeah.
And Detroit beat them.
How'd that happen?
It's funny, but in the picks that I missed, they were like one-score picks. It wasn't like, it was in those games that were actually close, turned out to be close games. This one a 3-point spread, and so congratulations to the Lions. Chargers got some issues.
And like Ray said, look at the pick distribution. First of all, Cincinnati San Fran could have gone either way. So but look again, the Chargers 88% to win over the Lions, and the Lions pulled it out by a field goal. Green Bay, Minnesota. I went with Aaron Rodgers.
I changed my pick and went with Aaron, and so I got it right.
There you go.
And again, by only one score, though, 5 points separated that.
And actually, I don't know if you saw this game, but Kirk Cousins, they had a chance that he threw to the end zone for the win, but it was picked off. And then the Packers sealed the deal.
So
Again,
unless you changed, you and I both lost on the Tennessee call. Indianapolis was Blake's pick for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, that is a divisional game, and in Tennessee, both these teams really no one knows what to expect from them. And so it was kind of interesting to watch Indianapolis pull that one out on the road in Tennessee. Happened just like you said.
Remember what I told? But the next game will be in Indianapolis, and I'm going to take Tennessee.
And so you got a whole lot of teams in the AFC South now, all tied at 1-1, which is
it's going to be a mess.
The next one I really just hate to even talk about, but I will say this:
43-0. These guys playing like Father Duenas.
74-3. That is the amount of points differential between the Patriots and their opponents after 2 games this year.
Antonio Brown scored 2.
I mean, we can talk about offense, but 3 points? Evidently, New England's got a defense, too, unless they just played 2 really horribly offensive.
And I believe
Miami.
And I believe they're doing it without their one of their captains and their longtime middle linebackers, Patrick Chung, who got popped for cocaine in the offseason.
So pretty much I'm hating life because New England's having another successful year.
You should be hating life too, because you picked New York.
I did.
Over Buffalo, and the Bills Buffalo picked it out again.
Wasn't even close. A 2-touchdown game here. Buffalo.
Look out for Buffalo.
I don't know, man. Yeah, they're showing something.
I'm just kidding. They have to play New England twice. That's right. I'm just kidding. They're not going to get past New England.
Yeah, well, I picked Seattle for the win, and you guys both picked Pittsburgh. So 1 for Ray.
And again, this kind of if you watch the game, Roethlisberger went out. He threw the ball, no contact, threw the ball, and then walked off the field holding his throwing elbow and never came back. So they lost their quarterback, and Russell Wilson turned into Russell Wilson again.
Because if it's contact, you can say, oh, well, maybe just a little bruise or something. But when he just throws and then
Tommy
they step
John.
up, I'm saying, so that may be the end of Roethlisberger's career.
All right, so unless you guys made any serious changes, it was Dallas, Baltimore, and Houston. We all agreed on those games?
And we all got them right.
All right, Kansas City and Oakland, that game.
Currently, right?
Yeah, 28-10, Chiefs lead that one, which they were down by 10 going into the half, but now they've scored 28 unanswered. So
and I told you about the Bears. I told you to watch out for the Bears. They
I got Bears.
Winning 13-3. They're beating Denver.
Okay.
And then it is knotted up at 6 as the Rams and the New Orleans Saints, which I thought was going to be a much better game. But they're also going without Breeze. Although when I was watching right before I came over here, he was looking like he was throwing with his hand all wrapped up.
Yeah, well, that's a
so
toss-up anyway, so
maybe he's coming down.
we'll see what happens.
I knew this would be a
vote
tight
for New
game,
Orleans.
but I thought it would be a little more high scoring. I thought it would be like, a 28-24 type affair. And, of course, it's not over yet. These two teams, clearly with the offenses that can score multiple times in a very short amount of time. So we'll see how
One more game ahead of us today, and then tomorrow, Monday night game, Cleveland and New York. I picked Cleveland. Nobody disagreed with me on that one. We're still going to wait and see what happens. Blake and I are pulling for Philadelphia, and Mike Watts Atlanta to win.
I changed. Yeah, I changed to Atlanta. I'm going to change to Atlanta. And I'm not saying that they're the better team. I just got a weird feeling that Atlanta's going to win that game.
And Darnold's out.
Oh, yeah, Darnold's out. You know what's crazy? So I told y'all.
Wait, so should I change to Atlanta?
You do what you want. They're only 23% on the pick distribution, so it's up to you. I mean, I like I said, I think Philly is the smarter pick, but I just can't root for Philly. So.
Yeah, and, I mean, without Darnold and in Atlanta, I just got to edge with Atlanta.
All right, Sonny Cruz says terrible calls during the Saints-Rams game, and James Howard says, go Lakers. Right on.
So I watched. So I told you. So tomorrow morning's game, the Browns Jets. That was the very first Monday night football game ever, 50 years ago, 1969 or whatever. And they showed it. So I watched it over the weekend. I watched the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets play in 1969 on NFL Network. First Monday night football game ever.
It was like real football
with Howard Cosell.
That was at a time when both teams were a whole lot better than they are now.
Yeah, they're coming fresh off the AFL and all that. Well, there you go.
All right, and we get into some local stuff here. Miami's JV Cougars beat who did they play? GW? No, JFK on Friday. That's how junior varsity did. You might be asking, what about varsity? I don't have kids in the varsity league, so I split.
And I don't write too much sports anymore, so I don't have results on that either.
I printed out a story for you, Ray. UOG hired a new basketball coach,
Vincent Askew.
That's right. Yeah, he's a former NBA player. It was kind of cool in some of the press releases I've seen showing him defending Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals when he played for the Seattle Supersonics. That was back in '96. So he's come here to coach the UOG Tritons, and this is a dude that's got a pretty impressive resume all the way around. He was great in collegiate ball, of course, got drafted into the NBA, played in the NBA. So.
Did you see who he first coached under? So he came from Kentucky. Right. So he coached under Calipari, and that's kind of what started his coaching career. Went over, I think, coached in Italy for like 3 seasons or something in Italy in the Italian basketball league or one of the Italian basketball leagues. So yeah, like you said, comes very resumed.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll see. I know that there's some kind of press release or something, and their first practice is this Saturday, and then the press conference will be after.
This guy played under Phil Jackson, so you got to think he probably brings a little bit of that Zen coaching style in. I know a lot of the coaches that come from Jackson and ex-players, they have a little different way of being able to manage their teams, and some of that I guess rubbed off. Of course, they each have their own styles. It'll be interesting to see how he does with UOG. It'll be fun.
Very cool.
Sonny Cruz says cancel that coach. Check today's post. Rico Blancaflor says if Brady and Brown get synced in, who can really beat the Patriots? And apparently the answer is nobody.
The Dallas Football Cowboys.
Yeah, again, for me,
we'll see.
The telling tale about New England is the fact that their defense has only given up 3 points in 2 games this year. And, they played Pittsburgh last week. They're no slouches. And now, of course, Miami's a dumpster fire, but still, you think they could have scored
That's
some
the
points.
thing. I don't think I'm convinced they haven't played anybody, and the division is so terrible. So, because I'm convinced that Pittsburgh aren't any good.
Yeah, I am now.
Even with Roethlisberger, now without Roethlisberger, they're even worse. But yeah, I don't think Pittsburgh is good. So I don't think that's an impressive win because they still beat them like 38-3. So if a bad team you can beat.
Sandra De Leon Guerrero says, "Man bun, great jersey, boo."
Thanks.
Oh, you're Sandra's boo. How about that?
Hi, Sandra.
All right, so I've been Kevin Kerrigan out of town for the first game, but in town for this second week, and you joined the football follies here at the radio station.
I did.
How'd you do first week?
Did you pick?
I'm 28 on the list.
Okay.
With 11 points?
What is it? Beat me, right?
No.
What was that? 10 or 11? For last week, I think it was 11 as well.
Yeah, 11. Yeah.
11, that's good, but you're playing. Have you made picks for this week, right?
I did.
Okay. Now I'm at 8. I'm at 8 so far.
I'm at 6.
You're at 6. Okay, all right. Well, so that's the deal. So there's a bunch of people that are playing. Thank you, Current Guam. We'll find out after tomorrow's game who our ultimate winner is for the week, and everybody is in the running to win a fantastic prize, a phone from GTA. You decide whether it's the latest or greatest iPhone or Samsung or Pixel.
I'm still waiting for player Ming the Merciless to send me an email at michael.knight@choicephonellc.com. We need to get your name and number, contact info, so we can start working towards getting you your weekly prize.
8:30 in the morning. I think that's all the time we got to pretend to talk about sports, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
That's all I got.
You go finish the morning show over on Star 101, and we'll come right back with Kevin Kerrigan and his last look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your NFL fix every Friday on Sports with Blake. Get the latest updates as Blake and Mike break down the upcoming action. Get your game on with the boys on the hotline, 888-TALK, or sound off on Facebook Live at thepoint.gu. League members get a chance to win some awesome prizes that get you through the NFL season. The NFL Picks on the Ray Gibson Show is brought to you by Current Guam with special thanks to GTA.
It's 8:31 in the morning, and I don't know. This is just an example of just me turning into my father every once in a while. There's a new flavor of Oreo, and you know what it is? No, you don't. Nobody does. Nobody knows what it is. It's a mystery flavor. You've got to buy it and then eat it, and then you go online, you tell them what you think it is that you're eating.
But I know what flavor you and I hope it is.
Stop it. It's 8:30. You don't read into, and whatever Mike says, just know. It's 8:32 in the morning and time for headlines. Last look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post. And he's back, Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, a distressed female swimmer was pulled from the waters of Tumon Bay Saturday afternoon. The woman found over the reef and pulled ashore at Gun Beach by lifeguards about 5:45 in the afternoon. She was pulseless and breathless, according to Guam Fire spokesman Kevin Riley. The woman was rushed to Naval Hospital with CPR being performed en route. Her condition has not been announced. A female friend of the distressed swimmer was able to make it back to shore. She was taken to Guam Regional Medical City and evaluated for exhaustion and minor injuries. The attorney for Harvey Aaron Kansau wants a Superior Court judge to dismiss the murder charges against his client. Kansau is one of the men charged in connection with the beating death of Sonter Sukin in the Nigua in June. Following the attack, Kansau was charged with misdemeanor assault. However, the victim, Sukin, subsequently died several days after he was brutally beaten. It wasn't until after the death that Kansau, along with co-defendant J.K. Sukion, were charged with murder. Kansau's defense attorney, Randy Cunliffe, claims the murder charge against his client amounts to double jeopardy. Sukion has pleaded not guilty to the charges. Guam police are investigating a burglary at a locksmith on Route 8 in Barragata. The Lucky Locksmith was burglarized early yesterday morning. Among the items stolen include a semi-automatic pick gun tool, a mini Auto Pro Pad programmer, and various other auto programmers, along with a smart TV. Store owner Ed Conception advises that the items stolen can be used to do worse damage in the wrong hands because they can be used to open most locked automobiles, homes, and business locks. He called the theft scary. Residents and body shop owners are advised to be aware of anyone trying to sell the items. Authorities are asking anyone with information about the theft to contact Guam Police or Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Man, that's a bad one here. A break-in over at Lucky Locksmith, and they found a device in there that can be used. It looks like a gun, but it goes in there and will help unlock something. And then it sounds like there's an electric one or electronic one.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with these devices, but Ed says that they can be used to open
for
various
evil.
automobiles.
For evil, not good. You should be able to start the car with it. I mean, if it emulates your electric key fob, you should be able to emulate that code, get into the car, get the car started. Yeah. It's one of those things. It's scary. Is what happens when somebody swipes the locksmith guy stuff, and we're about to find out. So watch out. I wonder if it might be somebody else that's got some lock picking skills, because you got to imagine that something someplace like, a locksmith shop has got to be done up like Fort Knox.
Yeah, well, I don't think you need much skill if you've got one of those auto programmers.
Maybe you've already got something along those lines. It's 8:35 in the morning. Watch out for that. And then you might be listening going, well, what can I do if somebody comes by my house and has one of those? I don't know. Leave something stinky in the car that you go to the next guy. It's 8:35, and we'll call that iConnect time. Run to the nearest iConnect and ask them about how they can save you money on your mobile and internet plans.
Looking to relocate your business? Prime Space is available at the Camacho Landmark Center at the intersection of Marine Corps Drive and Chalon, San Antonio, next to Personal Finance Center. Located in central Tamuning, close to the airport, hotels, major shopping, restaurants, financial institutions, the hospital, clinics, schools, and GovGuam and federal agencies. Your business can experience the benefits of this first-class commercial facility. Join other successful Guam businesses who have moved to this modern multi-purpose commercial center. Call Carlos Camacho, 300-7744 for more information.
I know a lot of people like hanging out in that fancy part of the neighborhood. It's 8:36 in the morning. You swing by Mescla. They've got a bunch of different specials for you. Southern spiced crispy fried chicken. They do it Louisiana style. Louisiana-inspired fried half chickens served with red beans and rice, available in Hagåtña and in Tumon at the Grand Plaza Hotel now for reservations. Ooh, you know what would be great with that? Like a gumbo. Like a gumbo would be awesome with something like that. That's just nice. Anyway, give them a ring, 969-2652.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
Hi, I'm Jerry Roberts, and every day on The Ray Gibson Show, I get to comment on the incredibly diverse, fun, challenging, sometimes frustrating, often exciting, but always interesting world of work. I hope you'll be there with us.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts. Brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
It's 8:36 in the morning, and yeah, I got that. Thanks very much for noticing an error in omission. Friday was the last day for Nick Delgado. Today is the first day back at work for Kevin Kerrigan, and the lower thirds, that little part like on the screen where it has my name, the tech name for that is lower thirds, and the one for Kevin still says Nick Delgado. I'll try to have that straightened out by tomorrow. It's 8:37 in the morning. Is there traffic today? OMG, there is traffic today. It was actually really, really ugly about 7:45, especially along Route 10 as you make your way into the Untalan Middle School and 8, 10, and 16. It's still kind of ruddy going through there a little bit as you get close to Wendy's and closer to the school, so anticipate some delays. Now, this is going in both directions. It's slowing down traffic in both directions around there, so just careful if you're going to be on Route 8, 10, and 16. Most of the rest of the intersection is doing just fine. Don't see too much else that's going to slow you down in the north end of town, although it might be just at some of the intersections. Airport area, a little bit busy through there as you get to Home Depot. And that road, the connector that takes you from McMobile intersection onto where Harvest is, and then eventually under Roy T. Demion Street, expect some delays through there as well. Everybody thinks it might be working like a shortcut today, but I got traffic in both directions snagged around the Harvest area. You'll see some traffic as you get into the downtown Hagåtña area. Nothing major in front of Navy Hospital, and things seem to be running a lot smoother this morning over at Big Navy, like they're closed or something. I don't know. But a lot less traffic down there as usual. 8:38, right now traffic on the point.
Chili's Guam invites you to our new location, now open on the second floor of Tumon Sands Plaza. For the past 10 years, we have made Guam our home and celebrated moments with our familia and friends. From birthdays to first dates, anniversaries, and everything else in between. We're keeping it going with our new location where you can hang out with family and friends over fajitas, burgers, ribs, and margaritas. Treat yourself to an elevated guest experience at Chili's like no place else. Now open on the second floor of Tumon Sands Plaza. Chili's, new location, same bold flavors.
And he's a computery guy. He's got a lot of common sense in his head. He says, I did all the locks in the new house. Always get double-cylinder locks. Most of the time, they break into a window and go out the door. If you put a double-cylinder lock, you essentially prevent that from happening. However they get it, they have to go out. So always have at least one stupid lock on the door that needs to be unlocked with a key from the inside. My old man did that. And I had something like that on at least one house that I've lived in my life, where I was in charge of the security, and it was my preference to have it like that. But everybody'd say, well, what happens if there's a fire in the house? And you got shutters on the windows. How are you going to get out if you have to go and find the key to that door? And I thought, well, that's an interesting question, but I do know I know where he's thinking is you break into the house through the window, you aren't going to be lugging my big screen TV out the same window. You're going to want to try to take that out the front door. I get it, but I always talk with somebody that's got more experience than me in home security. I put a lot of faith in my security systems, my video surveillance systems, and the house alarm to help me out. Diane Salas-Torre online, just back from making an incredible corn chowder for the family yesterday because it was Kadu weather. Nice. Maybe some beef shank next time. And the next time you're going to do corn soup, call me. I know where the place is. I'll swing by and try some with you. 20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning. 888-8255-888-TALK is the telephone number. All Friday afternoon. And it just seemed to me like it was everywhere. There were a bunch of people, and the government of Guam had gone out for like a cleanup, the Micronesia-wide cleanup that took place. And they went to a bunch of places that are chronically littered. I don't know what it is. It's just people that are too lazy to take their stuff to the transfer locations. Or just people too lazy, period, that find these places and trash them. And unfortunately, there are some really incredible places like Pagat and the Marbo Cave area, Tengisan, Tagatsing Beach, et cetera, et cetera. So it seems to me that every time they go clean a place up, somebody comes and trashes it, and the cycle repeats. And so I guess the only way that you can stay on top of that is to try to get somebody else to force multiplier. And in this case, the mayors have been talking with the folks over at the Department of Corrections to try to get some kind of an MOU going between those organizations. Angel Sublon's on the line. Good morning, Unghit.
Good morning, Ramon. How are you? Are you dry?
You know what? I'm dry. I spent most of the time in the house yesterday. I only got out of the house for a little bit, and thankfully so. I had a nice long nap with the sound of the wind and the rain against the window. There is still something comforting about that noise. But noticing as I did some driving around in some spots in the last few days, there is really an awful lot of trash in the villages, and it's stuff that even the villagers, even the village mayors that have the most staff are having a hard time staying on top of. So maybe in this case, working with the Department of Corrections to bring out some low-risk guys to have them come out and help keep things clean.
Yeah, that's correct. We have now the MOU in place, was approved last Wednesday, and so we're going to transmit it back to DOC. And some of the mayors have already, like I said last week, even before the ink was dry on the signature, we're requesting DOC for their 2-week advance notice for assistance.
Well, and I'm one of them, but there's going to be people going, we don't already have this? Don't we already have some clients, some inmates at the Department of Corrections that go out and clean along the side of the roads from time to time that's not part of this MOU?
No, this is actually the same program. It's just that the new administration and of course, the new director and deputy director, they wanted something in writing that's been vetted by and approved by the AG between the two agencies. Because it's not only going to be between mayors and DOC. Parks and Recreation will get also their own MOU. Nonprofit organizations will also get their own MOU. So it's just making sure that everything is covered and liability issues are also addressed.
Right. Now, let's talk about some of the costs here. Now, we talk about the coverage of the costs. The Mayor's Council doesn't generally have a whole lot of money at their disposal for that kind of thing. So who's going to pay for the transportation? Who's going to pay for the gas? Who's going to pay for the water and the lunch while these guys are otherwise out taking on these responsibilities in the village?
Well, of course, DOC will pay for their own transporting and whatever tools they have, they will use. Whatever tools we have, we will use. We will, of course, feed them, provide them water, and provide them lunch. And as far as their officers, they also take care of their own officers.
I see. Gasoline for the bush cutters?
We will pay for that.
You guys are taking care of that over at the Mayor's Council. So will we see more of these guys? Because that's another complaint that people have. Not only are they unaware that the program exists, they never see any of these guys in their villages. Would there be a little bit more of a rotation, a little bit more of a schedule on where these guys are?
There will be, because now it's with all the 19 villages. And like I said, the mayor's already turning in the 2-week advance notice for requests.
Now, I've got the MOU in front of me. I haven't read the whole thing completely, and there's much of it that refers to portions of Guam Code Annotated, which might actually have my answer. But will there be, among the detainees that are going to be out there and the inmates that are going to be out there, will there be any that might be of a concern to the community, especially with regard to sexual conduct?
Absolutely not.
So you've put the filters are in place. Certainly, violent criminals, anybody that is a flight risk, and sexual predators are not going to be allowed out of doors at the Department of Corrections.
They will not be, because in the first place, I don't believe that they're qualified for this program.
I see. Yeah, there is. It does make mention of qualified inmates who will perform community service. And at the end of all of this, there's credit against their time served. Correct?
I believe it's 1 day for every 40 hours that they put in.
Not bad. Well, there's enough work that needs to be done. Now, this will be obviously some zabao work. Get the bush cutters and the sharp machetes that are going to be out there. But will there also be a part of this job that will go through where they've got gloves and plastic bags to pick up all the trash on the side of the road?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And so this will start in another week and a half, 2 weeks?
That's correct.
Gotcha. What else you guys working on over at the Mayor's Council?
Well, call Mayor Matanani, because we're on top of this stray animal roundup and the dilemma that is affecting every village on the island. And
don't say to shoot him, boy. Everybody's mad at Mayor Hoffman now because he was talking about shooting the stray dogs.
I know, my email's full of all kinds of
Which is weird, because he's normally the last guy to get in trouble. So that one kind of struck me as odd. At any rate, I don't know that it's something that the Mayor's Council wants to do anyway. And we've been down this road before where we talked about sharpshooters and snipers out there, and everybody thought that was a dumb idea then, and it's kind of a dumb idea now. So I guess the question is, where would we find the funds to be able to catch just the girl dogs and do the neutering, the spaying of these girl dogs, put them back out into the boondocks?
Yeah, well, we're not going to be shooting them, but we're going to be working with the Department of Agriculture, and of course the governor's office is very involved in this, and find the funds to make sure that we have enough funds for the trap, neuter, and release program.
Yeah, I mean, if you get the numbers high enough, I think, and I forget what the number was that Tom Poole, the territorial veterinarian, gave me the other day. If we get the numbers right, you might be able to tip the balance here on the number of new puppies that come into the population and the number of older dogs that will just die off naturally because it's living in the boondocks. There's nobody, for the most part, there's nobody feeding them every day and on a regular basis. So we might see some attrition in there and maybe, as I said, tip things over into the right direction. Of great concern, though, and there's some interesting pictures floating around in the printed media and in social media, is the feral pigs have come out of the boondocks.
That's correct. Now they're coming out and they're going into people's yards, and like Senator Mayor said, it looks like you have a potato plantation in Santa Rita because they're digging up everything.
Yep. That's what they do, is they look run around and start looking for roots in the dirt that they can enjoy. And then when it rains like it does, they'll also start rolling around in those new holes that they put in people's yards.
Yeah, and that program with the feral pigs, we're working with USDA because they do have a trap program, and they have big traps where you can get a group of them trapped at one time, unlike working with stray dogs.
Right, where it's an individual at a time. But if I get one of these things in my yard, and I've been through a gun safety class, I mean, can I break out my pistola and dispatch it?
Oh, USDA. That's what we can shoot the pig, but we can't shoot the dog. But
Exactly. So I mean, how much trouble would I get into, besides the discharging a firearm in the neighborhood? But I mean, if the pig is right there in front of me, and I can shoot it from my house into the yard, and I know I'm a good shot, it's not going to ricochet off the pig.
Well, maybe that's something the AG can answer for you.
Forget it.
Ray, I think no one will complain if you share the pig.
I would absolutely share the pig. Listen, there's a lady I was talking to over the weekend, and I was really, really into this conversation. She was up helping out with this 20K that me and my buddies ran on, and I said, "Where's your husband?" She says, "He's out hunting." I said, "What is he hunting today?" She says, "Well, today he's hunting deer, but they go on regular basis, go out and hunt pig." And I said, how do you find the meat? She says, it's great. It's absolutely great, especially jungle pig, because they're eating stuff in the jungle as opposed to pigs that live a little bit closer to cities or the villages. They're actually eating junk food. So she says, go out there in the boondocks, find these pigs, and yeah, she uses a crossbow to eliminate the pig and dress them out in the field and bring it out and make sausages and all kinds of stuff with the meat.
You go to some fiestas, and the roast pig is actually the wild pig.
Right? Yep. Try it out. Well, there needs to be, I think, a couple more. I'm on the same side of those people that are suggesting that we make these pig roundups that they do over at USDA. Just make that monthly. Just do it monthly. We'll get the guys out there with the guns and the crossbows and the bone arrow and go and get ourselves some pigs. We'll have a couple of big fiestas every month and help out the poor people. And it's meat that I think people here would actually enjoy eating. Hey, dude, I got to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Okay, Ramon, take care. Good talking to you.
It's always good talking to you. Angel is the boss of the Mayor's Council and sometimes one of the guys that I need to talk to when I need an overview of what's going on. 10 away from the top of the hour. If I had more time, I would have asked him about handing over some paperwork to BJ Cruz over at the auditor's office. But this is an interesting conversation. I got my very close, very dear personal friend, Officer Paul Tapau from the Guam Police Department on the line. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good. Hope you had a nice, dry weekend.
I had a very, very dry weekend, and in support of the efforts of the Guam Police Department and the entire community to keep things safe, when I went to the beer fest the other night, I stayed over at the Santa Fe at the end because I knew I was going to have a good time, and that was my version of responsible partying.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for making that critical thought and utilizing good common sense and good judgment.
Yeah, I wish they were open every night. I wish I could just hang out there every night. Just go and drink downstairs at Santa Fe, run up to the room at night. 9 away from the top of the hour, and Officer Tapau on the line with me. There was a report that come out of the judiciary. I want to say this about 3 weeks ago, but it's just been now that I've been able to get a hold of you. They've got some issues over at the judiciary with the building fund because there's been a 40% drop in traffic citations, and they're going, man, that was always some decent money. How come the police department's not writing as many tickets? And I thought, I don't know. I'm gonna ask a policeman. Why has there been a drop in traffic citations? Because trust me, there's still lousy drivers out there.
Well, there can be many contributing factors to that. Of course, we know that when an officer on a patrol effectuate a traffic stop, we start with reasonable suspicion to make that stop. And, the officer can easily cite the violator for the infraction, or if there's any other probable cause that deems the officer to continue his investigation.
Dude, I'm telling you, just look at some of those cars. The cars are mobile probable cause. You just look at them and there's somebody inside right now. Somebody's committing a crime.
Absolutely, and that's where we sort of say bump up the investigation to where now the officer uses his observation to find probable cause to search, probable cause for impaired driving. A lot of times the infraction turns into an arrest. So these are some of the factors in which, and we've been seeing a slew of traffic stops that led to contraband, seizure, and of course DUI offenses.
Almost all of them do. It's amazing.
And that's the thing, that really highlights what our officers are going through. And we've had just in the last week and so, I was in training for the drug abuse recognition training that was filled by Counter Drug Task Force and the Guam National Guard. At the same time, our officers, to include Port Police, Airport, and our federal counterparts in Anderson and Navy, they were going to the SFST and A-Ride. So these are tools that are enhancing the officer's ability to detect drunk and drug-impaired driving. So, like I said, an infraction that may warrant a citation can lead to probable cause. Now, with the Highway Patrol Division, they are citation-heavy division within the department. And, with the weather we've been having, a lot of the enforcements that are scheduled within the calendar, click it or ticket, distracted driving, speed enforcement, it all relates to the weather. If the weather will permit our officers to go out here to do speed enforcement, then, our officers can average at least 100 citations within a site. And,
well, I mean that's good when they do them, but when they don't, then we've got those. And I'll be straightforward about this. As far as I'm concerned, it's an income issue for the government of Guam, and in particular the judiciary. I'd like to see, personally, I'd like to see the cops be able to keep some of the money that comes out of these citations and things like that. I think there'd be a lot more motivation for the police officers, and I think it would also help close the gap on some of the needs of the department budgetarily if they had access to those citation dollars. I understand why it's not done, but I think in this day and age, maybe there should be a second look at that. At any rate, so 40% fewer of these things because the highway division has been busier doing other activities, or they've been prevented from doing them because of the weather. But what about just regular old traffic stops here? I mean, like I said, all you got to do is just follow guys around over at the intersections. They're on their phone, distracted, or they're blowing red lights and things like that. I mean, it just seems to me what MC Cruz used to call easy money. But that's what he said when he got a haircut. It had nothing to do with traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it really is the officers just doing their due diligence and finding more than just a traffic violation. And, for us to issue a citation and effectuate an arrest, that's pretty much double jeopardy in our book. So really, we will go with a greater extent, and that will effectuate an arrest and taking a drunk drug driver off of the street, taking, providing assistance to somebody who may need the help to recovery.
Yep.
If we discover paraphernalia in the car, a lot of our traffic.
Help them to recovery. I love that. I've never heard it spun that way before. We're going to help you to recovery.
It is recovery month, and we've been doing a lot of work with Guam Behavior Health and Wellness Center, and focusing a lot of efforts in those that are our citizens that are battling addiction. And if you read the MAGI report, a lot of these traffic stops are people, our citizens are caught with crystal methamphetamine.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a prevalent drug, for illicit drug use on our island. And whether it's that time where you are taken into custody where we can provide assistance and help towards recovery, and knowing that you have an addiction problem and this is the best avenue. And you read it all the time, the MAGI reports that are sent out. So it's our officers really doing.
Oh, the magistrate reports the last 24 hours are great. I've got one in front of me. I'll read when things get a little bit quieter. Listen, I appreciate your time as I always do, and it was fun talking with you. We'll get together again, and anytime I can be of assistance with the police department. Oh, while I'm thinking about it now, Route 10 over by Wendy's. I understand you guys had to shut down a portion of that yesterday because of what looks like a little bit of degrade in the road work.
Mm-hmm.
Wafa, is it all opened up again?
It it is, and I just traveled. I traversed through there, and I actually had to detour because of the backup, and that can be the backup can be attributed, especially at that time. If it's a routine thing, and haven't drove by there to make an assessment, but the backup from Route 10.
So you just diverted. I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah, there's an indication that something's wrong on the roadway. I saw DPW crews out there by the intersection of the Tri to include some of the construction workers. I think they were mobilizing to assess that roadway.
Roger. Listen, 8:58 and change. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely, sir. You take care. God bless.
Officer Paul Tapau from the Guam Police Department. There it is. Quick assessment of what's going on. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's up there, but it looked like it was going to take a long time, so I hung a Louie and went the other way. Go through the village. I said, go check the village because that's the fast way through. And you're going, but I'm afraid, Ray. I'm afraid of getting lost in the Ledzang Cañada area. And this would be a good place to play the, Area 51 music that we have in the background. Because, yeah, you can plug in there. No, other one. That's Damien music. The Truth Is Out There Somewhere one. That's it. You pull into parts of the outside parts of the Ledzang area, and that takes you into the back way. And if you know your way around the Ledzang Cañada area, you can get from the Mighty McMobile intersection out into the deeper parts of the Mangilao area, thereby saving. I don't think you really save a lot of time when you use the Ledzang Cañada cutoff areas. And for some people, it's still a big mystery. But at least you're moving, so you're not stuck in traffic the whole time. 8:59 and change. And coming up in the next hour, might spend up some time talking with the guys over at Chili's about their relocation. And definitely going to spend some time talking about, dare I say it, puppy yoga. It's apparently a thing. Puppy yoga. And they're doing puppy yoga here. And if you're a guy, you're probably going, why do I want to know about this? Well, if you're a single guy, I'm looking at the people that are interested in going and the 7 that have confirmed that they're going. And these are all knockout beauty queens that are going with their puppies to go and do puppy yoga. I will give you details on that in the next hour of the program. This is The Point.
The price of oil already up after Saturday's drone strikes in Saudi Arabia. I'm Jay Metzler, Fox News. Crude now up 18% after attacks on 2 key Saudi oil facilities. Cut that country's production in half, reducing the global supply by 5%. At the pump,
we could see a price hike sometime very soon of anywhere between a nickel to 25 cents per gallon, depending on the duration and severity of the damage to Saudi Arabia's facilities.
Industry analyst Trilby Lundberg. President Trump tweeting a short time ago he has authorized release of oil from our strategic petroleum reserves if needed to make sure the markets are well supplied. In another tweet, he says Saudi Arabia's oil supply was attacked. There is reason to believe that we know the culprit and are locked and loaded, depending on verification. Here's what White House advisor Kellyanne Conway said on Fox News Sunday.
Secretary Pompeo has made clear that the Iranian regime is responsible for this attack on civilian areas and infrastructure vital to our global energy supply, and we're not going to stand for that.
Iran denies responsibility, and U.S. officials say Saturday's attack was launched not from Yemen, where Houthi rebels claimed responsibility, but Iran's direction. And a Revolutionary Guard commander insisting his country is ready for a full-fledged war. No new talk scheduled before tonight's strike deadline, a minute before midnight, and 49,000 auto workers at GM are set to walk off the job. It's the first UAW strike in a dozen years. Members of the Teamsters say they will honor any strike, refusing to deliver GM vehicles. America's listening to Fox News.
When's the last time you looked at your homeowner's insurance?
An easily overlooked part of covering our home is what's inside of it. Over time, we buy things we don't want to lose, but don't update our contents coverage. The smart thing to do is get the answers and level up our insurance to make sure we're totally protected.
That's the Insurance Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today by calling Guahan Insurance Services at 475-1162 or visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center in Tamuning.
Chili's Guam invites you to our new location, now open on the second floor of Tumon Sands Plaza. For the past 10 years, we have made Guam our home and celebrated moments with our familia and friends. From birthdays to first dates, anniversaries, and everything else in between. We're keeping it going with our new location where you can hang out with family and friends over fajitas, burgers, ribs, and margaritas. Treat yourself to an elevated guest experience at Chili's like no place else. Now open on the second floor of Tumon Sands Plaza. Chili's, new location, same bold flavors.
New allegations of sexual impropriety involving Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. They date back to his undergrad days back in the 1980s.
Justice Kavanaugh was confirmed last October after emotional Senate hearings over a sexual assault allegation from his high school years. The New York Times now reports that Kavanaugh faced a separate allegation from his time at Yale University and that the FBI did not investigate the claim. When he testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee last year, Kavanaugh denied all charges of improper behavior. Senators Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren, along with former U.S. Housing Secretary Julian Castro, are now calling for Kavanaugh's impeachment. But President Trump, who nominated and fiercely defended Kavanaugh during his confirmation process, dismissed the latest allegation as lies. Salchi and Grasso, Fox News.
Former presidential candidate Kirsten Gillibrand also calling for Kavanaugh's impeachment. She claims he committed perjury during his Senate confirmation hearings. A former NFL player accused of lying to the cops about being the victim of a hate crime.
Police in Duluth believe 31-year-old Edon Kaufman broke into his own 2 businesses, spray painting racial slurs and swastikas on the walls, along with the Make America Great Again slogan. Authorities later found Kaufman sitting in a truck wearing a hoodie and gloves with a bunch of new flat-screen TVs behind him.
He said that
He was the victim of a burglary that occurred earlier in the day, and that he was just coming back to the business to retrieve those items.
Cops also found 2 spray paint cans and a crowbar in that vehicle. Kaufman is facing a host of charges, including insurance fraud, false report of a crime, and concealing a license plate. Ken Duffy, Fox News.
Kaufman played for the Cowboys, Redskins, and Cardinals. And Clemson still number 1 in the college football rankings, followed by Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and Oklahoma. I'm Jay Metzler, and this is Fox News.
We understand what matters to you because at Docomo Pacific, we're a family too. With the Now Family program, mom, dad, and kids stay connected on the latest devices the whole family can enjoy. For just $155 a month, get 3 lines with 30 gigs of 4G LTE data each, and endless use of your favorite apps without affecting your monthly data bucket. Add more, get more, save more. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
It's the Ray Gibson Show being brought to you by American President Lines, APL. It's a global presence and a local home, and the team over at Subway. They are celebrating their 30 years of people on Guam eating fresh. And to show their appreciation, Subway is offering buy one, get one free events every Saturday. Now, this Saturday, go to Anderson Air Force Base Exchange, the McGill store, or Nexcom building number 258. Or is it a hashtag 258? Am I supposed to do something with that pound sign? It means so many things. Go and celebrate 30 years of making it what you want at Subway.
Real Talk Radio is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
888-TALK. And normally around this time of day, I get hot chicks to come into the studio. But I got a couple of hot guys, and you're going to like them because we're going to talk about food for a little bit. And in the studio, I've got Marcus Fong from the Coca-Cola Subway family and the Chili's family here on Guam. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Good morning, Ray.
When was the last time we were together? Was that at AK, or have you've been in here
no,
since
I've been
then,
in
right?
here since. We talked about the Red Ball.
There we go, Red Ball.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, and that's coming up.
Next weekend.
Oh, my God.
Or this weekend.
Are you ready?
Always ready. Always ready. You have to be.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's so much that goes on in the last week of having been a part of it before. I mean,
last minute planning and everything. But we were really happy that tickets were all sold out a couple weeks in advance, so we could really focus on the party.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yep.
So we got a great band that's going to be playing. It's going to be good food.
Yep.
Over at the Doucet. There's going to be photo booths and the whole usual stuff.
The whole 9 yards.
Now, what the very exciting thing is a chance to win some really, really cool things.
Yep.
Up to and including we've got virtually everything that was at DFS now is out of the airport now and over at the Doucet.
Yeah, always a big list from DFS. T. Galleria, really happy about them.
Yep.
And then, of course, the big prize, the BMW 740i.
What color? Because if it's not the right color, I might not want it.
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know the color.
It's a finite number of people that have a chance to win that particular ride, and so be there at the Red Ball this weekend to learn more about that. Find Cheetah. Whatever Marcus doesn't know, Cheetah knows. And Marcus has been busy because this is not the easiest thing in the world. Anybody that has done retail work in kitchens and dining areas knows it ain't that easy to build out a store.
I didn't know that a year ago.
Oh,
yeah. I thought it was just buy a couple of stoves and ovens and plug them in, and thought we'd be good to go.
As it turns out, there's a little bit more, and I got. He says, "Don't call him chef," but he's wearing a chef coat. So what the heck? You got the title now. I've got Frank's in the studio, general manager of Chili's, and now you'd been there before, right?
Correct.
Well, you were there before the move.
Correct. Yeah, just a few months before.
Okay, and so congratulations. Here's the job. Oh, by the way, we're moving.
Pretty much.
Yeah, how did that go?
It went well, actually. I was provided with all the information to what we wanted to do and to anticipate. So it was fine. It was good.
Now, what was the easiest part of it? What was the part you thought it was going to be? I'm going to hate this part. And when it was all done, you go, oh, that wasn't so bad.
Probably the team.
Yeah.
Really?
Taking
care of them and, kind of calming the nerves there. I think that was a lot easier with their support and all that, as opposed to.
Were they worried? Were they worried? They'd say, "Oh no, we're moving," and then they show up over at Tumon Sands and there's nobody there. I said, "What? Hey, what happened?" Psych. Well, I guess folks in the industry, there have been a lot of changes in the hospitality and fine dining on Guam in the most recent days. I'm not saying that anybody needs to be worried, because I think for all of the good team members, there will be some place to go. And Chili's a great place to work. I've seen the employees.
Absolutely, the morale there is really good. It's really high, and everyone's very engaged.
Got radios, man.
Yes,
look,
and
anytime you get to work someplace, you get the little radio thing in the ear. I think that's awesome. I just walk in with headphones all the time, just pretend to be one of the members of the staff. I don't remember her name, but there was you had one server. And every time I'd go in there with my daughter and her friends, she was just absolutely terrific with them. She knew to feed them first, and she knew they were teenagers, and they were going to be, okay, no onions on this, no bell peppers on that. And she was always really good about it. And I want to say she was telling me at the time that she was leaving, but ended up staying, I think, for a whole other year because she was having so much fun on the job over at Chili's. I think you might know who I'm talking about. So, but anyway, you've got team members like that some of them can turn into lifers, huh?
Yeah, exactly. The teams that's been there that moved over with us has been there quite a bit for a while now, and that's part of one of our focuses, the guest engagement, and from the management standpoint, our engagement with the team members. So I think you'll definitely feel that when you come in. Everyone's smiling, everyone's in a good mood, and just having fun.
Well, I'm still fixated on the old place, because for a lot of people that was a nice go-to location. You got to go hang out over at GPO and pick up some stuff, or maybe swing by over at Cost You Less and do a little bit of shopping there. And then we're going over to Chili's because it's there, and we know the food's going to be good. We know the food's going to be in a great price range. So what did you do by way of letting? Because I know there's a lot of people that like me. That's kind of a go-to place that go there on a regular basis. Did you give them some kind of warning that you were going to be moving?
We did a communication campaign right when we closed, and leading up to that with some teasers and some different things to let everybody know that we're open and when we're opening. So
nice. Well, and then now into the move. I have not seen the new location other than a couple of snaps in the media. So tell me a little bit about the space that you moved into over at Tumon Sands.
So we're on the second floor of the Tumon Sands Plaza, overlooking Tumon, the main road area.
Oh.
So we'll see the sidewalk. So what I really like about the space, and what I think you're going to really like, is that there's a couple of different spaces when you go in. There's a bar area, nice social area where we have some live music throughout the week, and of course our TVs and all of that. But then on the other side, you've got your regular dining area. You bring the family, come in to have a nice meal, and then we've got a patio area that's overlooking Tumon.
It's Ray's Lounge.
That's where it is.
Yeah.
You can go outside, have a nice quiet meal, overlooking. People watch. I know you like to do that.
Yes. Well, there's joggers up and down all the time.
Yeah, you got joggers, you got people walking across the street and everything. So it's a really different atmosphere in that one restaurant.
Oh, I like that. Now, it's outside. Yeah. How are we ventilating it to make it comfortable? I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for a friend.
It's nice and cool outside.
Hot, flashy friends.
It's nice and cool outside. As a matter of fact, that was the first place. When I had my first dine-in experience at the new restaurant, I chose the patio.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right.
It was nice and cool.
Cool, comfortable. Yep. Now, the question on logistics, because sometimes you sit outside of the restaurant and they never check on you anymore. Nobody's bringing me water. It's, I'm ready for another beer. Let's go.
No, we got that covered. So we're moving over to a handheld system soon that will be basically covering that whole area. We'll have a dedicated person out there that doesn't even need to head over to a POS or a point of sale system. So they do it right, punch in your order right there, and good to go.
Oh, 21st century. Yeah. I like that kind of technology. Now, is there an app while I'm eating at Chili's so I can see where the food is in the process? like a Uber, or a Lyft, the car's around the corner, so start getting ready for your meal?
No, even better. We've got them having handheld, so they're never going to leave your side.
Ah, very, very good. Okay, so you just go in there. So I've seen this kind of thing in Japan. They've had it in Japan. They got these little, look like handheld calculators, and then they punch in the order, and then the kitchen's automatically got it.
Right
You're
away.
right. So that it's a walking around on-demand POS.
Correct.
Which I like, and that means that things go a little bit faster once the food is now in process.
Correct. So it saves the time, the walking time from getting the order to getting a drink to going back to the guests and taking orders. So right then and there, they can punch everything in. Kitchen has it, so you should get your food a lot quicker.
Now, I've done the process in the past, and I'm not going to try to make this as a kind of a comparison, apples comparison, but I've redone entire studios, all of the infrastructure that goes from one studio to the transmitter to another studio to the transmitter, and I've always tried to take advantage of those to make some modifications. So obviously, you're talking about doing that with your technology and with your server people and the different zones that you've got in the restaurant. So we've got a little bit of a change going in. Did you have an opportunity to take a look at like the menu and say, you know what, we ought to be able to tweak this up? You guys did a tweak like this and added a few more southwestern flavors to the menu, and you've also rocked a local menu over at Chili's as well. So have you looked at the menu on the move and said, yeah, let's leave the old menus at the old store and let's go in with some new stuff?
I think we're sticking pretty much to our core menu items that that Chili's is known for: the burgers, Ritas, fajitas, and ribs.
Love the burgers.
But there is a component that we're going to throw in there soon. But we can't talk about it today. So maybe in about 2 weeks, we'll have that up and ready. But I'll share with you, it's
can I get a hint?
It's all made from scratch, off the menu item. It'll be it's pretty phenomenal. We'll let you know when it's coming out.
The animal, vegetable, mineral, appetizer, main course, dessert. Can I just run the entire gamut of the 20 questions?
I guess I can tell you some beef.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Stop right there.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay, so I know it's not going to be dessert. 9:15, I had some friends in town. And they wanted to go someplace where they could get some trendy cocktails. Marcus, I'm sure it's the same thing. It was back in the old days of beer or wine, and now it's a Moscow Mule. People are drinking Manhattans again and things like that. Now, you guys have always had an active bar with the video screens and things like that. So I always felt like I had this sports bar feel when I went inside. I'm not saying that's bad, but are you finding that more of your bar customers, especially now that you're in Tumon, are looking for something other than a cold beer or a red?
As of right now, I think we're kind of still feeling it out. We're in that process, but we plan on actually elevating our bar experience and our offerings here pretty quickly.
I'm just thinking like aprons for the bartenders. Then that automatically change. It's like you go someplace, you get somebody in a t-shirt and shorts. Yeah, that's nice. But if they're wearing like an apron or something like that, you get the feeling like they're going to cook your drink.
It's like a bar chef.
A bar chef. And there's a couple of spots that I'd love to mention. Offline we'll talk about. But there's a couple of places where I was recommending that we go because they've got all of these different specialty drinks and things like that. So I think the whole experience of going out, it used to be just, look, the kids are hungry, let's go someplace to eat. But now, as you use the word experience, it's not just going to get something to eat. And at your place, it's not just, customer comes in, they make an order, here's the food, there's the check, bye-bye. There's a whole experience you're going after. Absolutely.
That's kind of what we're all about. We're all about the guest experience. Everything that happens throughout their meal is well thought out. And for us, it's all about engaging in our guests and creating that emotional connection, to create a memory. And we're banking on that.
What's it look like on the inside? What'd you guys do with the decor? Because I in my head, it starts with the chili door handles and then moves towards the inside.
So the elements are all still there, but it's more of a modern industrial look. There's a couple of key places in the restaurant. The bar is really nice. You've got this corner area where there's a lot of new lighting and some murals. But the thing that I like the most about the restaurant is we've got this painting, this wall. That's a local painting. It's got a picture of Two Lovers Point. It's got a picture of a Laddie Stone and a chili pepper chilling on the beach. And that is like the huge focal wall. That's my most exciting part of the restaurant.
Okay, and so once you get past this wall here, on the other side is Tumon, right?
Yep.
Okay,
right behind it.
that back area, the patio area that you were talking about.
Yep.
I do like artwork. I do like the difference that it will make in a location. I've got very sensitive ears. Have you guys done anything with the what do you call it, acoustics on the inside?
So the space actually lends itself very well. It's a little smaller space and it's a little bit more open. So acoustics aren't like in the old location where you've got the tall ceilings.
Right.
And you've got it wasn't
Very
so easy.
industrial and it's all of the noise, the clack clack clack, and the silverware noise bouncing off the ceilings.
So
and
we
the
don't.
walls.
All the heart of house, the kitchen is all separated. You're not going to hear any of that in the front of house while you're with your dining experience.
See, now you're thinking. Now I know where you're thinking of, and it's great food. But the kitchen is right there, and it's like sitting next to the galley on an airplane. You just hear this noise. There's this noise that comes from it all the time, and you can't have a conversation.
No, and we had the opportunity to really redesign this restaurant from scratch.
Well, I was going to say. So, I mean, what followed you from the old place? The bar. All of the stuff that was in the bar and the back of the house. How much came with you?
The team.
That's it.
That's about it. I mean, really, a lot of the equipment, a lot of everything that you'll find in the restaurant is completely new. So it's a brand new experience. That the only thing that hasn't changed is the hospitality.
What did you buy? What was your favorite? Look, I could walk you through this building here and show you all of the cool favorite things that I bought with my unlimited capital expense budget. So I know Marcus gave you an unlimited capex budget. So what'd you buy? Besides the POS, because the POS thing's turning me on.
The kitchen actually is a lot of where the technology lies. We do. There's different. Along the way from Chili's opening to where we are now, everything's kind of made to be more efficient and with the guest in mind. So a lot of the technology actually lies within the kitchen. So pretty much 99% of that kitchen is brand new.
Did you buy anything?
Unwrapped.
Just curious, did you buy anything you can make pizzas with?
Yes, we have one.
The kitchen is so versatile. There's so much innovation that we could be doing with it. And that's why we didn't really change the menu just yet. Because now we've got that new kitchen.
Let's play with it.
We
take it out
we
for
can
right,
do a
see
lot
what
of
it
stuff,
does.
yeah.
Can you sous vide in your kitchen?
No, we don't have a sous vide machine.
Okay, Marcus. Did you bring your checkbook? need to bring your checkbook. Well, I mean, if you're going to do meat, let's do sous vide. It takes a little bit longer, but there's something about the tenderness of it. Well, listen,
that cooking process.
So they had the grand opening. You've got one today. There's another door you're flipping the keys to today.
Well, we're kicking off our 30th anniversary for Subway today.
Yeah.
The doors aren't open just yet for our new Jigo location, but it will be probably in another week or so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, but wait a second. Don't we have one today? Isn't today a grand opening?
Today is that's the kickoff of the 30th anniversary.
That's me and you going, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. It's not open to the public yet.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that for a second because it's one of the things we started running the ads for Subway talking about 30 years on Guam, and I am one of the original customers of Subway here on Guam. I mean, in the last 30 years, there's always been a Subway, and my favorites are the ones that are closest to my home. And it was once upon a time that we would leave. It was only one Subway on Guam, and the strategy behind the location was we'll put this thing over by Anderson Air Force Base because there's everybody in the Air Force that hasn't had a Subway sandwich since they come to Guam. So they put a Subway up in Jigo, and we were at the time working in Agana. Anigua, to be exact. And we start making the calculations. How long will it take us to get up to Jigo and then make our order and then come back down in the 60 minutes that Lee Holmes allotted for us back in those? And we were, he said 60 minutes for lunch. It was 60 minutes for lunch from you leave the office to the time that you come back. And so we would do this calculation and go, okay, today we've got some time. Let's run up there and order this, and this, and then come back down and eat them. And that was the way we did it for an awful long time until the company said start putting some more Subways a little bit closer to Agana. Yep. And how many do you have now?
We have 15 now.
15 Subways.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Now I've got another favorite. I found a favorite at the mobile in front of the airport intersection.
Okay.
And I like that one. There was one of my old standbys is on Route 8, and I'm delighted that they've got that store is still running. So the new one that you're going to be turning the key on soon is going to be back in the home country of Jigo.
Absolutely. So we're coming full circle. First one was in Jigo. We've moved a couple of places, and then now our 15th is going to be back in Jigo.
Where exactly in Jigo?
So we're at the mobile Jigo North, where the
There used to be a restaurant in there before.
Yes.
Okay, so you
Yes.
guys have taken that over?
Yes.
That's a nice space.
Yep,
I
it's a nice
passed
big
by.
space.
I passed by over the weekend because I was hungry, and I thought, okay, all right. I remember there was a place in there to get something to eat, but it's gone. So that's going to be your place. Will it be 24 hours a day?
It will be. It will be our
Really?
third 24-hour store, and we're looking at sometime early next year. We're going to put a drive-through through there.
Okay, so and all of the stores now are on the app, right?
They are on the app.
Because I downloaded the app,
Yes.
but I haven't gone in and done my stuff yet. I got a stack of Subway.
You got to start
receipts.
collecting those tokens.
What tokens?
So when your loyalty
in the
points,
app?
yeah, on the app.
Oh, okay.
You just go in, bring your phone, you turn on the QR code, and you scan it, and boom, there's your points.
Okay, so now can I make an order on the app?
No, not just
Can't
yet.
do that yet.
Not just yet.
Okay, but I can while
We're
I'm
working on
there.
that.
Okay, but it's possible because like I said, I got a stack of receipts here, and I don't want to lose those points from transitioning from to the old system to the new. Because you know how it is, right, Frank? You get 100 points and you get your own store.
I think it's a little more than that. But yeah.
Maybe it's a free 6-inch. Yeah, I can't remember what it is. It's one of the two or something in between. Anyway, 9:24 in the morning. But get back to that. So taking the subway back to the old home location up in the Gigo at the gas station, and everybody's going to know where that is. And it is all app capable these days. Is there a Chili's app?
There is. There's a Chili's Global
I was
app.
just making that up. There really is?
There is.
What's it do?
Chili's Global 2.0. It should be updated here this week with the menus on there. I believe, obviously
Even the local stuff?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Well, somebody's got to take pictures and code. I get it. Can I order on yours?
I believe the capability will be there soon. Yeah,
Okay.
shortly.
So you know where some of the rest of the conversation can go, and you guys are actually standing up a brick and mortar Chili's, and I think that's cool, and what I think is a great location. Although Nick is asking, what about parking in the area? Because there's a lot of tour companies that have a lot of reserve signs up there. Do we have reserve for Chili customer signs up?
So the hack is that on the
Park
side.
in the general manager spot.
Yeah, you can do that. No, they won't mind. But there's a side. So there's parking all along, and then the parking for employees and for the tour agents and all that has been moved to the back of the building, so or like farther away along the fence. So there's plenty of parking.
Okay, so just go in there and don't worry, unless it's got somebody's name or something like that on it. You're probably allowed to park in that location. And as you say, the employee parking, not like that. Like if you go to the court, the employee and the judge park is right there up
like
front.
everything. No,
Customer parking way in hell in the back.
No.
It's
It's
over
the
at
opposite
Sizzler.
there.
Okay.
And then the great thing is we've got an entrance that's right on the sidewalk. So there's an escalator. If you go on the sidewalk, you park on the side
No
of the
way.
building, walk on the sidewalk. There's an escalator that goes up, and once you reach the top, you're there.
Dude, just park at Hyatt. Okay, maybe not. You're gonna want to get away with something like that because that's what everybody else does. They park at Hyatt and just kind of walk around out where your Dusatani places.
Well, if you're walking on the sidewalk and you see an escalator that goes up, well, that's where we are.
That's so cool. All right, we'll try it out. And your store is already open. There's no more grand opening stuff taking place. Chili's is now open in the new location.
We are open and ready to serve.
So how much can we talk about the old location? What's happening there?
That's being handed back to GPO.
Okay, so
GPO
that's
is gonna
between
take
the
care-
landlord and everybody else.
Yes,
Okay. So what's your next big venture? What are you going to be doing?
I don't know. Got to recover and get these restaurants up and running.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking the thought in my head about brick and mortar, and I want to say that there's in my mind just a couple of things that are interesting that are happening in the food business these days, in the retail business. One of them is food trucks. Almost said trash trucks, depending on where you eat, right? But they've got a lot of like a food truck revolution that's going on there these days. You ever like go buy a food truck and all of a sudden the idea pops into your head? Maybe that's something that you'd like to pursue one of these days.
I've actually thought about that for Subway, a mobile kind of Subway restaurant. They've been doing that a lot in the U.S.
What stopped you?
We're trying to find a truck, find the right setup. And,
Yeah.
kind of move around to different places and go around. We've got 15 locations, but there's still a lot of places, a lot of gaps.
Well, and there's festivals that you can go to that people might not want to stand in a long line and get a small plate of something that looks like local food. You go, or you're guaranteed to get something that you like out of a Subway truck every single time that you go. The only thing I guess you could bake bread in one of those trucks big enough, right?
Yeah, we should be.
Do they do that in the ones in the States?
Yeah, they do.
Huh. Fascinating.
They do.
Now, the other thing that I'm beginning to hear more of, and I know of one or two restaurants around here that are thinking of closing their brick and mortar so that they can open up some more of a virtual location and then deliver a lot. So how about one of these days, I go on the Chili's app and say, you know what, I'm busy, but I really, really want to get some Chili's food. I'm in Upper Tumon. Send somebody on a moped up and bring me food.
I think that's in the works. So we're working on the app right now. So you can order to go. And I think the pickup is the first step. And then the second step is delivery. The challenge with delivery is how do we make sure that when it gets to you, the food still looks and still has the same presentation and taste.
Yeah, that's kind of tricky, isn't it?
We're all about the experience, and not just the experience in the restaurant, but when you eat the food. And we don't want to have that downgraded because you're eating it elsewhere at home or at the office.
I totally get you. And I know some businesses that do not specifically put food out for delivery. And in some cases, you can pick it up, but you've got to be there like when it comes out of the kitchen, because we don't want it sitting on a counter for 2 hours, and then you come back to me and say, well, it didn't taste fresh. Right. And we lose customers, and you're going to post it up on social media or something like that. So I totally get that. Is that more doable, do you suppose, with the Subway experience?
I think Subway is a lot more lendable to the portability, but still, we still have to get it right to make sure that the sauces and the toasted subs are still done the right way.
Nice. What now? Just because it's us boys talking here, what are some of the other trends that you guys are picking up in the food and beverage industry? I mean, especially where it comes to fine dining, portability of the fine dining, customer experience. What's hot and sexy?
I think really the experience. The people don't go out just to eat anymore. Food is so readily available anywhere. You go to a supermarket, you could go to a coffee shop, a deli, anything to get food. Yeah. But really, I think that what separates the whole food industry is the experience. What do you get out of it? Chili's is celebrating 10 years on Guam. That's not a small feat to do. No. And we've been a part of so many birthdays, graduations, and so we really talked to our team and said, why do people come to Chili's? It's not just because we got great fajitas or great ribs or great burgers, but it's the experience of while having those things.
I always thought part of the experience at the old store was I always thought the service was great, number one, and number two, it was always interesting to see who else was eating there. New friends that you can make, old friends that you see on a regular basis. I'm sure that's going to happen at the new location.
I think even more so.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? It's always fun talking with you. It's always good to have you in the studio, and congratulations on now number 15 opening up in Jigo.
That's right.
I'm looking for. That's today, right? I'm supposed to leave here and then go.
That is going to be today.
Glad I wore an iron shirt. This will be fun. I got to stop somewhere and put gasoline in the car because I don't know if I can make it all the way up to your gas station. We'll just have to wait and see. Frank, thanks very much for coming by.
Thank you for having
Mark,
us.
it's always good to have you here.
Great to be here.
Bottom of the hour, and let's call that iConnect time. Swing by the nearest iConnect and ask them how they could save you money on your mobile and internet plans. Save big. Save really big when you bundle up your insurance policies with Nanbo Insurance. Insure your home, auto, motorcycle, or business with Nanbo and enjoy great savings, up to 50%. When it comes to insuring your property, no one knows better than the company with over 50 years of service to the community. Don't compromise the things that matter to you most. Call Nanbo today at 477-9754 or visit nanbo.com for more information. Nanbo Insurance, serving you since 1968.
Rain. It's nature's way of cleansing the earth. Yet by the time that rainwater makes its way to your home, it may not be exactly the same as nature created it. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve the quality of the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home, so you can be sure your water is clear, clean, and fresh, just as nature intended it to be. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your NFL fix every Friday on Sports with Blake. Get the latest updates as Blake and Mike break down the upcoming action. Get your game on with the boys on the hotline, 888-TALK, or sound off on Facebook Live at thepoint.gu. League members get a chance to win some awesome prizes that get you through the NFL season. The NFL Picks on The Ray Gibson Show is brought to you by Current Guam with special thanks to GTA.
Makes me want to do my dance, but I'm not going to do my dance because there's cameras in the studio. I'm going to have to wait until the cameras are turned off, or otherwise, well, I might find myself up in G going a little bit to see what's going on. Longtime fan of the product there, and mentioned this the other day. Was getting hungry. I got the hungries while I was at the gas station the other day, and decided, yeah, there's a Subway in here. Might go in And, the only thing that changes sometimes are the people doing the service. But for all intents and purposes, exactly the same sandwich that I bought 30 years ago when they had the original location up in Gigo. And if I close my eyes real hard, I think I might be able to see in my head where that particular place was. But it's always good memories when you get up there. Online, let me see who's hanging out with me on the Facebook Lives here. I got Evelyn Z. Compass is online, and Hannah Cho is, that's Director Cho, is hanging out. I got a note from Mary Rhodes a little bit earlier in the morning, and she said something about, she was going to be in here, we were going to talk about something, but she says, got a joint press conference with the governor and the Guam Department of Labor tomorrow at 9:30 regarding the pre-apprenticeship program. If you want to get more information on that, then definitely call GHRA or the Department of Labor. DOL has got their own apprenticeship program that is going to be coming up, and they're both going to be beneficial. Dave Del Sola and I talking last week, and this is a point that we probably need to bring up fairly often. If you are or you know somebody that is in the SNAP program and does not meet the exemption requirements, they may have to go to work for at least 20 hours a week in order to continue to receive their SNAP benefits. Now, we're not talking about gazillions of dollars here. We're not even talking about local dollars, but I worry that if people don't get on the right side of that story, they will find themselves being declined. They will find one day they'll wake up and there's supposed to be money in the SNAP card, and it ain't there. And who knows what the heck they're going to have to do to be able to make ends meet. So I'm just saying, if you know somebody, just tell them every once in a while, check Department of Labor or check Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association and ask about these apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs, because I think that's going to be vital moving forward. Now, there's another issue that has got a lot of people talking. I think this is one of those issues that probably isn't going to go away until it goes away, and who knows when the heck that's going to be. They have made, I think, a pretty significant change in the way the government of Guam employees and retirees, et cetera, get their health insurance. Once upon a time, it was you could choose between this company and that company. You can do it like this, or you can do it like that, or you can do it like this, you can do it like that. But you had a choice. And they said, no, this time around we're going to go with just the one choice, the most economical, action-packed, fun-filled, event-prone get-togethers with health insurance. And the company that came through this time is Aetna. Aetna is the name of the company. And there's a lot of people around here scratching their head going, wait a second, is it Calvo's Aetna? No. Is it, I know it's Take Care Aetna, right? No, it's Stay there. It must be Stay Well Aetna, right? No, it's Aetna. They're using the provider network that Moylan's has. So if you're familiar with Moylan's, you might have a pretty good idea of where you might be able to go and get what doctors you get to see and all of that stuff. If you don't, guess what? Learning curve time. Now, there might be more. The guys at Aetna sent out a press release here over the weekend. Pleased to be confirmed, we have been chosen, yada, yada, yada. Under Gov Guam's Aetna International Healthcare Program, members will benefit from a range of enhanced benefit options while retaining the basic features under their current program. Plan options including PPO 1500, HSA 2000, the Retiree Supplemental Plan, and Foster Plan will remain the same as the current plan year. Local network access and on-island support will continue as normal. Under the new program, members will receive additional support in the form of 24/7 customer service, reduced limitations on key screening service, and have enhanced access to a broader range of island providers. When I was talking with Jerry Crisostomo last week, he indicated that in addition to being able to go to continue to be able to see doctors and facilities in Manila, you also get a chance to go out of Manila. There's other cities that you can go to, and maybe if you are Cebuano and want to go down in that part of the country to go and get your health care because you got family there or something, you should be able to do it. Did he say Palawan? Do you remember? I don't remember.
No, I don't remember.
Anyway, so members will continue to have access to St. Luke's in the Philippines as they do. In addition, Aetna International's off-island benefits program members will now have access to over 1 million providers on the mainland, including world-renowned hospitals from coast to coast. So there's plenty enough, if you ask me, to take a look at this. I know for some people change sucks. I'm one of them. Now, I'm okay if I'm the guy doing the change, right? I'm narcissistic and egotistical like that. If it's my idea and we make this change, then it must be a good one. Just suck it up and live with it. If, on the other hand, somebody else is directing the change, and I will find no amount of reason, not a high enough amount of reason to complain about it. I don't like this. I don't like the color of the logo. I don't like where they're located. I don't like the phone number. But eventually, I think you stick to it and you go, well, you know what? Maybe that wasn't the end of the world. There is an online petition that we talked about last week where you can go and express your concerns and put your name down and all of that stuff. But I don't know. There's something about it. That rubs me just the wrong way. And the reason why it rubs me the wrong way is it was put on the internet by the guy that runs the sales department over at Select Care. So I thought, well, you know, send out a mass email to the customers, especially the ones that are most twitchy about this change. I'm excited to see what Aetna might be able to do once they're in the market. They've got Aetna International, but there's Aetna Regular, and then there's all these other companies that they represent, including CVS Pharmacy. Wouldn't it be interesting if, as part of their, you know, maybe they'll open up a clinic? And maybe the clinic will have a CVS. Maybe the clinic business will be so good with the CVS, they'll do other clinic business on Guam. Maybe even help out Guam Memorial Hospital with some of their pharmaceutical needs. I mean, they got a lab in there as well. So I don't know. It feels in my mind like there might be an upside. So I'm not ready to poo-poo this just yet. I do recognize that this could be, you know, although it's odd. I actually heard somebody say, "Man, those poor Calvos." What? What's the matter with you? You know, those poor cows. Get out there, opening up a Payless. This is going to be a nice one. I'll shop there all 24 hours a day. I may not need a refrigerator anymore because there's a Payless up the street. So I just, you know, what if I need meat, just go buy some fresh meat.
Yeah.
Right? Go
cook it before it warms up.
Exactly. Yeah. Just saying. All right. So that is interesting. And they've open enrollment. Get ready for it because it's coming up on the 23rd, and they'll go until October the 12th. That's when the open enrollment period is going to be for them. And there's plenty enough time as well to see what else is going on. Watch the process with the government of Guam employees. If they don't botch it up too bad, might be a pretty clear indication that these guys might be good to work with you, your company, or your group to be able to provide some kind of health insurance. The only other thing that makes me nuts about this, and this is from the guy that works on the radio side, and frankly, I need something concrete. I need something tangible with which to make a frowny face. And normally it would be, I wonder how much this is going to cost me. So you go, it's the government of Guam employee the plan here. It's, you know, it's paid for by the employees. Part of it is paid for by the employees. The government matches some of that, and the government match comes from me. Everybody says, "Oh, it's the government is paying." No, that's taxpayer supported. So I'm curious as to what the taxpayer overhang is going to be. Will the employees be paying the brunt of the majority of their health insurance premiums? Or is that going to be, well, you get 45% and the other 55% will be taken care of by the government? Whenever you see the word government, just go, my wallet.
Yeah.
It's me. I'm taking care of that.
I'm often amused at this time how many people still think that the government actually pays for something.
No, it's us. We're the guys that are doing that. So ponder that. As soon as we get the numbers, trust me, I'm sure that there'll be any number of excuses for us to bite through rebar and have those moments where we go, but that's taxpayer money, babe. That's our dough. 888-255-888-TALK. As far as the weather is concerned, what you see is basically what you get. The majority of the ugly weather that we had yesterday has about moved through. That doesn't mean that we're out of the completely ugly.
Yeah, you got the radar there because we actually have some stuff developing.
It's Guam in September. I was talking to somebody last week. She was celebrating. Oh, Clint's wife, Therese, and she was celebrating her birthday. And I said, "Hey, Therese, have you ever had a dry birthday, like your entire life? Have you ever had a birthday in September where it was dry all day long and sunny skies and outdoor birthday parties and all of that?" And she just kind of looked at me like, I hate you for asking. So this is a current radar image for Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands, and it shows that we are in kind of a clear spot right now, but it also looks like the wind patterns are changing. It looks like they're shifting a little bit.
Yeah, we're getting southwesterly winds now, and if you look at the last few loops of the radar, you got a couple of different things working here. First, we've got some rainfall coming in from the southwest. It'll remain to be seen if that holds together.
Yeah, that's a long way off, dude.
But then you look off to the southeast, and that is actually monsoonal feeder band, and that's going to have to come through at some point in the next few hours. So sometime this afternoon, we will see another round of fairly heavy rain. Just how heavy, that remains to be seen, but it'll be in the heat of the day. So I have a feeling it's probably going to be pretty intense, at least for a couple of hours, and then things should quiet down after that into the overnight.
All right. Do we have any final football scores here?
Oh, yeah. No, there's a whole lot of final scores that have actually I've been redeemed to some degree because all of my other picks have turned out to be right. It was kind of funny in the Chicago Bear-Denver game. They were down to the last seconds, and Chicago was behind, but they did pull out the win there. Let's go back over the
You got
daily
KC
action
in
here.
Oakland? You got KC?
Yeah, KC ran in a route. They routed Oakland 28-10. Chicago over Denver by 2, 16-14. Rams did pull it together and beat New Orleans pretty handily. 27-9 was the score of that game. Philadelphia at Atlanta will start here in about 30 minutes or so. And so at this point, I've only missed 5 picks, and they were all in the first round of games. All the second round games have come true for me. So
all right, I got 10, so Philly and Cleveland have to win for me to come out with a dozen.
There we go. And let's see. And see, I've got Falcons in Cleveland. So we'll see how it goes.
888-825-888-TALK is the telephone number. While I've got the something other than my face on the screen, I wanted to tell you that today is it was yesterday's, but what the heck? She was a beauty for our age and our time, and so I wanted to put this image up here. Jacqueline Bisset. They called her Jackie Bisset back in the 60s, and she had a minor role as something Good Thighs, Miss Good Thighs in Casino Royale, which was a James Bond movie, but it was a comedy. It had, Peter Sellers was in it, and the young Woody Woodpecker, what's his name? Woody.
It's me, man.
He's
Harrelson?
the comedian. No, not Woody Harrelson. Woody Allen.
Oh, that guy.
Young Woody Allen.
Yeah, okay.
In the movie as well. And then you have Jackie Bisset, who couldn't have been any more than about 19 or 20 when she was in here playing this character. And she's just absolutely gorgeous back then. You can find Jacqueline Bisset pictures today, but, she's 75. She's still beautiful.
Yeah.
She's still a beautiful 75. But that's not the image that I have in my head when I think of Jacqueline Bisset. It's this one. And then there's some pretty revealing scenes from a movie came out in, 74, 75 called The Deep with Luke Gossett, one of the first big Luke Gossett movies that was out there. Yeah, I tell you what, so early in his career, he played a bad guy. Right?
And he had hair, right?
No, he didn't have hair in the movie. But at the end of it, not to give away a spoiler that's 40 years old, but at the end of it, he got his head crushed by a gigantic moray eel.
Ouch.
And I want to say that they did a remake of the movie, but it's got to be Jackie Bisset in the outfit that she wore. You couldn't do that anymore. You could not have that amount of cleavage and transparency in an outfit in 2019 than we did in the better, more enlightened days in the 1970s.
Clearly someone would get offended.
It was, trust me, that was art. 9:46 in the morning. So Jackie Bisset, happy 75th birthday. A guy named Ben Savage, you know him from Boy Meets World, turns 39 years old today. A couple of other interesting stories, and I told you about this, and people actually went, "Ooh, Oreos! I love Oreos." Okay, love Oreos if you want to. Oreo has got a new mystery cookie that looks but doesn't taste like the classic, and they're asking people to guess the secret cream flavor for an opportunity to win $50,000. According to Oreo, the limited edition product will be hitting stores. What's today? Today is the 16th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it should be in the mainland stores effective today, a new Oreo flavor, but they're not telling you what this mystery flavor is. You're supposed to, I guess, log in someplace or QR code your way into it, and yes, David Niven was in that movie. You're absolutely right. He played the James Bond. Oh, my God. Trying to... God, what a great movie that is. That's almost worth finding on Netflix today and watching. No, I'm just... what is it? There's somebody, the McTavish clan or something like that, that he's got to go. It's a house full of women, and he's a virgin. He's trying to protect the sanctity of his virginity or something like that, and has a really, really difficult time doing it. Because you've got all these 60s era, this before, all kinds of plastic surgery and injections and everything. These were real women that we're talking about in this movie. Like I said, worth watching all over again. 9:47. That's the producer making the noise, not me. See, now totally distracted from what I was talking about. Oreo mystery flavor. Now this, I'm going to become my father. What's wrong with the Oreos that we have?
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the chocolate piece of cookie and then the cream on the inside. And I appreciated the idea when they came out with the double stuff.
Double stuff, yeah.
Because that was, that took something and just made it better.
Did you get any of them when they did the triple stuff?
I don't believe I did any.
It was a short
with
run.
with the
It was
triple.
a short run, but man, those things were thick, full of cream. Then it was just like,
What's it going to be? 200 calories a piece.
At least.
Yeah, right. So I mean, that's about the only thing the only reservation that I have. But now they have so many different Oreo flavors, and I'm going. I don't know why. Why do they need to do something like that? There's nothing wrong with a standard Oreo cookie, and I wonder how well they sell or what into what niche markets. I'm gonna search for something because I'm sure it exists, and that is Oreo pumpkin spice. Let me see if we've got an Oreo pumpkin spice cookie
I'm sure
that
they
you
do.
can find
Yeah.
in the grocery stores. Yep, sure enough.
I know they
Images
have
for Oreo pumpkin spice. They're
I know
all
they
right
have
there on the internet.
strawberry cream and everything imaginable. Gosh, yeah.
What happened to the old days? Now, when I was growing up, they had one kind of Kit Kat.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But if you go to Japan, they'll want to say that there's a million different kinds of Kit Kat. They've got one for bitter melon, and I'm not sure exactly how I tend to feel about that. I don't know that I'd ever eat one, but it's nice to know that they've got one.
They have a wasabi flavor, too, don't they?
What the?
Right.
Could you possibly be thinking? Wonder what I'm possibly thinking. I know what I'm thinking about now. I'm going to take a quick break. Be right back.
Everybody's heard about the bird. Bird, bird, bird. Circle K has a 3-pound rotisserie chicken, now available for the introductory price of $9.99. It's the biggest, tastiest, and most affordable rotisserie chicken of its kind on island. Save even more by getting a family meal with 2 sides and a bottle of wine for only $25.99. The Circle K rotisserie chicken. Get yours today. Circle K. Take it easy.
Half a day. Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Jade Uggan of Umatic, and this is where I start my day. Listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanonmo. Protect your land. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
Sorry, I just laughing. I'm checking Instagram and Facebook, and with a couple of exceptions, you can tell that yesterday was kind of a long recovery day for a bunch of people, because now we're just now starting to get a bunch of these craft. They had this craft beer thing at Sheraton, not too far away from the house the other night. They had it a Saturday night over at the Sheraton Place, and the other thing that they did was they brought out some different whiskeys and different whiskey distributors to try. And so they were out there sampling their product. My favorite ones were the ones where they were doing some combos There was a place where you could go, you could get a beer whiskey combo, and I thought that was pretty good. Little tiny sips of it, so you could kind of control yourself and make sure that you weren't overdoing it. You weren't really getting drunk. But as turns out in a lot of these events, in the early part of the show of the afternoon, they're pouring everything into these small little sampler cups, and they're so cute. Look, it's so cute. The little sampler cups. It's a little baby mug. It's so cute. And then as it gets later into the evening and the guys from the distributors realize they got a lot of crap to take back to the warehouse, they're like, just give them the cans and the bottles. Just here you go. And so for a lot they weren't doing that with the bottles of whiskey, but they were pouring taller shots. And so it's like, we don't want to take any of this stuff home, so have at it. And so I think that when it finally ended up, there were a lot of people that hopefully safely made it home. I didn't see a whole lot of familiar names on the magistrate report. We'll see what tomorrow's looks like. But hopefully a lot of people made it home safe. But my guess is that probably every time they took a look in their phone to take these pictures and upload them to social media, they probably realized just... ow, it still hurts. Maybe, ow, I should have stopped at that one last whiskey thing, huh? I shouldn't have drank the whole bottle of beer and then drank my buddy's whole bottle of beer. Because I'm just now today seeing the majority of my friends that I know were there. Now they're posting. Didn't do a whole lot of posting yesterday, but today they're doing a few more postings because, well, they're a little closer to sober, a little bit closer to recovered. That was a great event, and I would recommend highly that the next time they start talking about doing it, that you go. They themed it out, too. They themed it out. The theme was, it was a country western theme. So there were a lot of people. There were a lot of Levi's. There were a lot of, and the eye full. There were a lot of shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but few things look better than a girl in Levi's.
You should have been there. You should have been in a little country western vest and cowboy hats and badges and nonsense like that.
I'm from Texas, and I have none of that stuff.
You don't have a buckle belt?
Nope, don't have it. I have a belt buckle.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it actually comes from the. My dad bought these. They were special sesquicentennial belt buckles celebrating Texas' 150th birthday.
Yeah,
and it's in a place safe though. You don't wear that.
So I've got one. A buddy of mine, the Cleveland cowboy. He was a cowboy from Cleveland, Ohio, and I guess such a thing exists. I've actually got one that says Ramon on it, and he bought it for me, and he bought a belt that came along with it. Now it might be 25 years ago plus that he got me this belt. So you can imagine that belt doesn't go all the way around these hips. Not anymore. No, I tried, but didn't work out. So I didn't get to wear a buckle belt on Saturday night. Although I'm thinking now I'm going to make an order online for someplace, nice little Western belt that you can snap the buckle belt into one of these days. 9:54 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. I sure do wish that there were more opportunities to get into something that feels like political gossip. But honestly, I just didn't hear a lot over the weekend. It just doesn't sound like there's a whole lot going on. I tried to get something started this morning, but Marie Pangolina keeps stonewalling me on their interpretation of what Chapter 17 is. I think there needs to be more of a response from the Guam Election Commission on the nature of the complaint that was filed by J.P. Manuel, and then what happens next, because they keep not saying anything about it. They go, "Oh, it's confidential." I'm like, no, it's not. Don't you at least have to tell me what Mike Nicholas's response was? Has he been sent a response? Has he given an official response on that complaint? So it hasn't happened yet. So I think when I'm done with the program today, I might send a note out to Mike and ask him where they are in the process, because I'm pretty sure Mike doesn't want anything to be confidential any longer than it has to be. And besides, a confidential response on allegations like the kind that JP was making, I don't think Mike's capable of making an anonymous response. He's been posting fast and furious over the weekend, taking some offense at some of the statements that have made by Lou and former Congressman Robert Underwood about what's the word? Fallacy? Is that the word I'm looking for? The Organic Act amendments that he wants to put in there to keep the government inside the lane of paying tax refunds as early as 90 days from the date you filed, not the 90 days from the filing deadline. I'd like to see that go. Just cause. And they'll say, but we're doing it. We are doing it already. It's all right. We've been able to stay in tune with the dollars and cents. They're about to do it with big time with these Section 30 monies coming in. But again, even there, I look at that as an opportunity to just question this. Going, wow, you're making a big deal about tax refunds, which are funds that are already owed to the people of Guam. It's not like the government of Guam is coming out and saying, hey, we found some extra money and we're just going to share it with you like a tax rebate or something like that. No, these are your dollars, and the government's had them on a free loan for as long as they have, and you deserve to get them back. And it's the same irony that is extended by everybody making a big deal about Section 30 money being sent back here from the Department of Interior. They're making it sound like the Department of Interior went out there and Indian wrestled the president to get those $70 million out to our people, our insular citizens out there in Guam. Nothing could be further from the truth. Those are our dollars as well. So we've got two different entities basically feeding us this line about here's all of your money. I'm going. You were going to give it to me anyway. You didn't need to make a big splash about it. You don't need to make headlines. It's all right. And speaking of additional Section 30s. Money that's going to get spent here. And this is one of those reasons why every time you hear an activist say, Yankee go home and no the military build up because everything is all right on Guam. We're fiscally responsible. Just go, no, we need this dough. I was delighted to see in the weekend's coverage, there is almost $1 billion worth of not proposed spending. These are contracts that have been awarded. Almost $1 billion worth of construction contracts that have now been awarded. About 80% of that business is going to be done here. So let me make that clear. About 80% of that work is going to be done here. There's 80% of almost $1 billion worth of spend in the next year or two, where we're talking about people that you and I know that might be working on base, might be working in construction, might be working at Home Depot, might be working at XYZ wholesaler, might be working for some kind of a planning company, and these guys are going to get their share. It's as though you put your hands up into the air, into a floating stream of cash, and just pull down the money. Because that's what it's going to be like.
Yeah, the government's probably figuring out a way, even as we speak, to try to tax these people extra to get some of that money.
Huh. That's okay. Just dodge it. Just don't file. Just wait. Next year when Trump comes out with his 2020 plan for the middle class income tax cuts, just watch the government in the states squeal. Just watch municipal governments like ours squeal. Because even though the word has gone out to prepare for it, they won't prepare for it. Instead, we'll be seeing a 6% BPT. I hate making predictions because when it comes to money in the government, almost always comes true. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, the radio station KUSG. I got you. Thanks so much for watching or viewing. Hope everybody's completely recovered from the weekend and yesterday's rains. We'll keep an eye on things, and if you need to know about something, we'll put it up on the RDS and a bunch of different places where we can message you. KUSG, I got you. This is The Point.
Verification. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News.